We had a toilet upstairs at the house. It was a 2-story house. And we had a bathroom like in between our
Yeah.
rooms. One of us going piss, and I was pissed all night long.
A gallon of water will do that to me.
Yeah.
I drink more than that a day every day.
You don't drink a gallon of water.
Easily. Shit.
You're insane.
Every day. I promise you.
Every day.
I don't buy it.
Andy?
I bet I drink 6 of this a day every day.
I can't hear you. Put that to your face.
I do drink that much.
Can you hear my mic?
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't drink that much water.
Water and tea, I do. I promise
That
you.
was better.
Tea.
Well, it's a gallon of okay. A gallon of liquid.
Yeah, I don't doubt.
I don't drink enough water. I'm fucking perpetually dehydrated. Keep plugging along, you know.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom! And welcome to the Big Honker Podcast, brought to you by Dive Bomb Industries. I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world famous Andy Shaver.
Well, thank you for having me today, Jeff. I really appreciate it. And we just found out we're lucky that you're still alive, Jeff. Back in your younger days, you were drinking 5 gallons of water a day.
Oh, that's you misconstrued.
Bull!
I can't hear y'all in my headphones.
Oh, what is going on here?
Technical difficulties.
We have these all the time. I can hear you on the mic, though.
Yeah. I could hear myself when I didn't have my headphones on, which was weird.
They're unplugged. They're all plugged in.
Does that do anything?
No.
Try the other headphones.
I mean, do I have to have them on? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
There it
What'd
is.
you do? We got a short in it?
No.
It was just quiet.
No, it was 3 and 4 got mixed up.
Oh, okay.
Before we get into this shit, I didn't drink 5 gallons of water every day.
That's what you said.
No, I did not either.
He did say that.
He did say that.
One for 2 days, and I don't think the second. And I started thinking back, maybe it was 3 gallons of water. But me and a buddy of mine, he lifted weights and was going to clean our systems out, and had this deal where you drink all this water.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Fuck, I can do that shit." Well, I tried it for about 2 days,
And then I
and all
looked
I
it
did
up.
was piss. Every 15 fucking minutes, I pissed.
And then I looked it up that over like a gallon and a half will kill you.
Well, that's
So,
bullshit. For 160,
lucky you're here.
160 pounds. I weigh 160 pounds as a freshman. How much is a liter compared to a gallon? It's less than a gallon,
This
right?
says 6 liters of water in
yes,
a few
liter's
hours.
less than a gallon for sure.
Yeah, in a few hours. I didn't say it was all day long.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is America. I go by gallons.
I
That's
go
it,
by
baby.
gallons. 1
They
point
also
Inches.
say
inches, gallons.
They also say you can't drink a gallon of milk in like 90 seconds or something.
That will. I mean, you'll throw it up for sure. I tried to drink a gallon of milk one day and I threw that shit right.
I
up.
knew a guy that could have done that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, your old football coach when he weighed
Steele.
450
Coach
pounds.
Steele,
He
yeah.
could. He
Yeah.
would get up at nighttime and
Most average laws don't apply to a man that big.
no, but like a big cup, the thick 32-ounce cup.
Yeah.
At nighttime, he would wake up at 9 or 10 o'clock at nighttime, and he would drink that of milk, 32 ounces of milk. I can't. I don't even like milk, but it's so heavy anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
But
that much milk.
But he would drink it. I asked him one time because Allsup's has the moo deal. Used to do the moo thing where
Right.
you'd open the deal moo at the gas at the milk thing, and they'd give you a sticker, and for like every 10 gallons of milk, you'd get a free gallon of milk. And I told him, I said, "God dang, 10 gallons of milk for an average family, that's 10 weeks worth of milk." Oh hell, we go through like 7 gallons of milk a week at our house. My God, he drink, and they drink the
Yeah.
shit out of milk.
Hell yeah.
Hey,
Well,
have
it's
you
heavy.
ever had raw milk?
No.
Never had
It's
raw milk?
dangerous. I mean, like, there's people that like it and people that don't. And, I teach this to my athletes because when they started doing the whole, like, cane sugar and Coke, like that was supposed to matter.
Oh, right.
And I was like, listen, here's 2 questions you need to ask about fitness. Number one, is it third-party tested? Because most supplements aren't.
What do you mean, like?
So it's
Someone
it's,
that's biased.
they're not regulated, right? So like no supplements are. By the way, just so everybody knows, no supplements are regulated because you have to prove. They have to prove that it doesn't work in order to regulate it, and it's all subjective, right?
okay.
There's so much placebo effect that goes into it, so it's really important that you get a third party tested,
which is an
supplement.
unbiased opinion,
right? That's somebody that took the product and tested it,
Right.
And then the second one is just because it's natural doesn't mean it's healthy.
Right.
And then I said, cocaine's natural, isn't it? And he goes, yeah. And I go, is it healthy? And he goes, no. And I said, okay.
Yeah, but
Maybe in
cocaine,
small
but
amounts.
cocaine has to be cooked or something to change.
Sure, but like the point is like
Right.
doesn't matter whether it's refined sugar or cane sugar. If you're
Yeah.
eating a shit ton of sugar, you're going to get
Yeah,
diabetes.
Coca-Cola's not good for you.
Exactly.
Regardless.
So like raw milk, I'm sure there are ways to do it. I'm not like versed in it,
Right.
but it's essentially like, and at least the way I see it as a fitness professional is the risk is not worth the reward.
Because basically, homogenized just basically takes out the bad shit.
Like bacteria.
They heat it up. They heat it up to a
bacteria.
point.
Sure.
To a point that the bacteria can't survive. and then they
Pasteurized,
just-
not homogenized.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pasteurized.
Sorry.
I had to correct you using aspirin
Good job.
earlier.
Good job.
I appreciate the correction.
We're all about
Jeff.
accountability here.
I appreciate the correction.
Do you
Jeff.
know who invented pasteurized milk?
Louis
Gandy.
Pasteur.
That's right.
What?
Louis
Pasteur.
Pasteur. That's why it's called pasteurized.
Well,
Yeah, that's right.
we are
I think
just.
he's French, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
We should start doing these podcasts
was like
earlier in the day because we're just full of knowledge.
Late
'cause we're not
1800s,
tired.
I think, when it
Something like
happened.
that. Yeah.
He probably got the diarrhea and he was like, I got to figure out a
He's
way.
like me. He's like me. He had to give him a cup of milk, and he took about 5 shits in the morning.
I
And was
wonder-
like, "Gosh almighty!"
I'm wondering if that wasn't an accidental deal like penicillin. I have to look
Could
that
have
up.
been.
That could be
Yeah, that's-
interesting.
He might have just like warm milk at night.
I think that's y'all's next
it on
episode.
the, left it on the boiler
It
too
could,
long.
I don't know. It could have been, that's how cereal, that's how cornflakes was founded.
Oh yeah.
That guy worked and couldn't figure that shit out, and they left some out all night, and it come up, and it was all molded up or rolled up.
Yeah.
And milk didn't penetrate it and stuff. It didn't make it soggy, and so we went from they were giving granola to people that were having mental problems and sexual dysfunction.
People that masturbated.
They did.
It's kind of like
And
A
that's how
Thousand
they-
Ways to Die in the West. He gets that cut on his face, and they come in, and the doctor's just got a blue jay pecking at it.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
We recently went to the dentist for the first time. I can't remember the last time I've been to the dentist because we never had dental insurance and like.
I bet this was hard on the wallet.
But like, I was just thinking like in the 1800s. So here's the deal. I view dentistry like I view regular health. If
Right.
it ain't bothering me, I ain't gonna go seek out a problem. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
And
my teeth feel fine. They don't hurt. Like.
And it's kind of the inverse. Like,
Yeah, and
if
it's
your
like-
teeth are bad, you're getting sick real fast.
Right. So it's like, I just treat it the same way I do. I don't
Yeah.
go see the doctor every year
Sure.
either. So like, don't take it personal, dentist.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But I hadn't been in forever and they're like, no cavities. I'm like, why
Yeah,
did even come?
Did you get your teeth cleaned while you were there?
Yeah.
Did
Do you
it seem
brush
like they
every
were
day?
scraping a ton of shit off of it when they were doing it?
Oh, she hurt me
How much? How many times do you brush?
twice a day.
Twice. Yeah, I mean,
As
like,
soon as I get up and as soon as I go to bed.
I was told by a dentist you shouldn't brush at night.
really.
That's dumb.
Mine told me
They
every
said-
12
all the-
hours.
You got all the sugar on your teeth. You got all the stuff on your teeth. You
He
gotta
told
get off.
me, he said, I'm telling you right now that he says, your age, you've brushed your enamel off anyways. Because I can't get my teeth white. Because I used
Sure.
to brush mine 3 times a day.
I mean, I guess I could
And
understand some of
my
that.
toothbrush looks like fucking someone sawed it in the deal because I brush real hard.
She did tell me I brushed too hard.
And so that's what I've been told too. And he told me, he said,
I'm brushing all the shit off, so I
drink
don't
some
got to
water
come
at
see
night
you.
time real good and wash it out. He goes, you don't need to. But I still brush twice a day.
Yeah. Mine said every 12 hours. She said
Yeah.
just try to do it every 12 hours. And so that's what I try to do.
I need to go get my teeth clean, but hell, I want to do it. And I called in an appointment. Okay, we can get you in August of 2028. I'm like, God dang, I just want to get my
Yeah,
teeth
no
clean.
shit.
Takes
Really?
forever. Yeah, if you call today, it's a 3 to 6 month window just about to get your teeth clean.
That's dumb.
I remember when I learned you could just get dental insurance.
Oh, really?
Right? Like, so I was looking at Blue Cross Blue Shield and I was like, I just need to, need this tooth pulled and I can't pay that money. And then I was like, can I just get dental insurance? So I looked it up and they were like, yeah, if you just want dental insurance, $35 a month. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's cheap.
Oh, that's cheap.
so I went to Guardian. Now you got to wait, like, you can't like get it and then be like, all right, now I need fucking veneers, but like you can go in immediately and you can get like a teeth cleaning. But anything in depth, I had to wait like 6 months before that would kick in because that's, the gimmick.
Right.
But hell yeah, I pay $37 a month just for dental insurance only.
I had a dentist that hunted this year with us, and I was talking to him about veneers.
I don't work for Guardian, by the way. That's just who I use.
And I asked him, I go, I ought to do some swapping out with you. So we can do that. I said, how much are veneers? He said, about 15 grand. I said, well, fuck that.
It's going to take me a couple years.
Hang on a minute. I'm going to lose money here.
Yeah, I just think I'm spend that kind of much money to get some damn teeth where you need a damn blinker, they
When I
open your
first
mouth
started-
up and people see a mile away.
I first started personal training. I was like, what if I just asked people to get me insurance?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know
just-
what? Your dues will be $356 a month on my insurance. Just get me
Right.
health insurance. I don't
Right.
need any cash.
How much was it to get your teeth cleaned?
Well, so we did. So Midwestern, you can go to Midwestern, and it's not as much. I think we paid like $200.
The dental school or something?
Yeah.
How much
Yeah.
was $200 for all 4 of you? Mm-hmm. No shit.
That's not bad.
The boys were free.
Well, yeah.
The boys were free because they were a certain age. But yeah, you just go in there.
Ooh,
and
I'm
like
gonna call them. That's
all
cheap.
the
It's like getting a haircut.
They had it. They advertised it in like Seymour or something. We saw it over there.
Oh, I'll
or
have-
Jesse did.
I'm gonna call him up.
Now here's the problem. There's a catch to it.
Yeah?
So the dental students do it, and then the professor comes by and checks their work. So you basically get it done like twice.
I could handle that part. I bet they loved Andy, a good-looking old guy like you. I bet they were like, them
Let
girls.
me tell you, that professor, my dental hygienist was kind of delicate with me.
Yeah, he said,
That professor came in there and she just started like moving stuff around. Like,
hey.
Was there any
Tell her
guys?
to
Was there
do
any
it.
guys in the class?
no.
I've never seen a guy dental hygienist.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
No,
kinda sexist.
so even the professor,
Nobody's stopping him.
No, that's- yeah.
So you get seen by you get seen by a dental hygienist, and then you get seen by a doctor, a dentist, and all of them are women. Yeah, I didn't see a single guy.
So is the new batch of dental hygienists coming up a bunch of good-looking gals?
There were a couple in there.
There's gonna be some happy dentists out there.
I mean, yeah, there were a couple good looking ones.
I don't see a lot of male dentists in.
I've seen a lot of male dentists, but I've never seen very many.
The last ones I've been to have all been women.
Another one that always had all the hotties was when you'd go with the boys to go to the orthodontist.
Yeah.
They all had them hot young chicks in there thinking, yeah, this guy's pretty damn smart right here. But I guess Hooter waitresses and dental hygienists are all chicks.
Yeah, it might be both. Might have had to do both to pay
I've
for
never
it.
known of a guy that's a dental hygienist. Someone's going to call me in. My husband's a dental hygienist, and goddamn, he lifts
just
weights.
don't see him
and he'll
around
whip your
here.
ass.
It's good money.
Yeah. I'm sure he
No,
will.
it's good money, and they need them around here.
They make good money.
That's right.
Dental hygienist?
Yeah, they make real good money. I know two people
couldn't.
out here that are married to them that are doing very well letting their wives make the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't mess with other people's teeth. Like when she had her hands in my mouth, I'm like, you do this every day?
Well,
Like
you got
just,
gloves
And maybe
on.
that's part of it. You know what I mean? Maybe that's
My dad would not have been a good dentist.
right,
One
like-
finger in there.
exactly. Like maybe that's kind of part of it. You know,
Little fingers.
little fingers,
Yeah, I just
or
could-
just not minding it and not
I
minding
just-
digging around somebody's mouth.
I couldn't do it. Even like the x-rays, like she had to put something in my mouth to like bite down on or whatever. I don't know. But like she's like all up in there and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, why would you do that?
Gross.
Well,
nasty. I saw something interesting the other day. So we were talking. It was about. This is gonna sound sexist, so brace yourself. But basically, whenever we introduced women into the workforce, we doubled the workforce, and then we kept wages stagnant for men because 50 years ago, people could survive on a one-income household. Introduced women in the 70s, approximately. So you double the workforce, you keep wages stagnant because now you got supply and demand, you got twice the supply. But if you look at what women do, most of the time, on average, a woman works a job that is similar to her keeping a home. They're teachers, they're in healthcare, they're nurses. You do have that freak woman that's the CEO of a major company, but by and large, it's just look at the numbers. But by and large, we took women from raising their house, stay-at-home moms, and we put them into the workforce doing stuff that they were basically just doing at home, taking care of kids.
They're managers.
Teaching kids.
Yes.
Because you look at the large percentage of elementary teachers, it's all women, right? And then as you grow up in secondary, that's when you start seeing men, but
when
I
you
don't know.
consider the nurturing factor of all those professions.
It's just like we kind of wrecked our economy, and now women are just, I don't know, I guess they're getting paid to do what they were doing at home.
what do you mean wreck the economy, though?
It changed the
Wages.
dynamics of wages.
You got twice as many people working, so now companies aren't as obligated to pay people a lot of money because, like in the 50s and 60s, a guy would go to work, mom would stay at home, and they made it just fine. They had a car, had a house. Now, granted, they didn't have internet, TV kind of shitty, radio was free, so they didn't have a lot of bills that we have today. But you could survive on one income, where today you can't do that.
You can show a chart, and it shows that when women entered, the wage deal was going like this, and it was going like this together. And then when the women entered, wages stayed this, and the job grew like that, and it stayed the same.
Basically, wages have stayed flat since the 70s.
Yeah, and that's when
I will disagree that that's because of women entering the workforce, and more so like situations, like a localized situation like private equity firms buying up small businesses. Like,
but that wasn't happening in the 70s.
Yeah, it was. It
Not
just
like
wasn't.
like
I
it
mean,
is
maybe not
now.
at the same, because they definitely had better antitrust in the 70s because of the movement and all of that. But like wages didn't stay the same because, like you're saying, it's not that women didn't come into male-dominated professions and that doesn't make sense, right? We didn't get an influx of women in the oil field, and oil field wages stayed the same. We got an influx of women teaching, Has nothing to do with what
Women
I'm
working
saying is,
overall.
What I'm saying is those don't have anything to do with one another, right? Like if we're gonna go off the fact that like women do dental hygienists and they do nurturing professions and teaching and all of that good stuff, right? Those weren't typically male dominated professions, right? Now, because they were allowed to do that. But like men were working in automobile industries, and when the time you're talking about population, we had a 60% union population. Most everybody was in a working union, which means everybody was getting paid. But then we started trust busting, and you're not going to like that I'm going to say this, but once Nixon and Reagan and all of them started getting in office, they started they started breaking down antitrust law, which is why we have less unions now.
When you say antitrust, is that like monopolies?
Right. So, the unions, the unions had their issues in the 50s and 60s. We all know that. Right. And that's one of the issues that I had with it in the beginning. But the fact is that when labor was organized, wages were going up. And then we started breaking that up in the 70s and in the 80s and in the 90s. And we started allowing corporations to operate like people like you guys are, and that's not who they are. So wages didn't stay the same because we got a bigger workforce, because the work didn't stop, right? We had women in the workforce in the 40s when the war was going on. They were working in factories, they were running all that shit, and we had a booming economy. Like nobody can argue with the post-World War II economy.
That's why we had the same thing now, why they want to go to war all the time.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can get onto that later.
The war machine.
But sure, absolutely, that is also part of it. I agree. And we were warned about that, the military-industrial complex. But women coming into teaching and being dentists doesn't have anything to do with the fact that corporations and conglomerate and globalization, right, sending jobs overseas, all that time you're talking about jobs were going overseas, unions were being broken down, and minorities were still being kept out of the workforce. Like all these things were happening at the same time. So I have to disagree in the fact that it's like, no, people were tired of having to pay, and so they started paying politicians more, right? Like, how do you think we got Citizens United? How do you think we got the Patriot Act? Like, the rich and the elite people said, I know how to fix this. What are you going to vote? Here's fucking $100,000. Get in there and let's break up these monopolies. That's where I look at it from.
I think a lot of women, if you look at the average... We're going to go with average. We're going to go with averages here. Most women will get into the workforce until they get to about their late 20s, early 30s. And then that's about the time that they get married, they have kids, and then they start thinking, because if you look at the way women pick a partner, they pick across and up dominance hierarchies. So they very seldom does a woman look at and marry a guy that's less than her and marry him as a partner. Most of the time they go across and up. So if a woman gets into a workforce and she's pulling 75, probably, we'll go with 75. So she's got a career that pays her 75 a year. Her husband probably makes at least 75 or into the hundreds. So she gets into the late 20s, she has a couple of kids, and then she thinks, you know what? Like, I can probably quit my job, or I can go part-time because my husband's making enough. So women get out of the workforce in their early 30s on a large majority. Not all women, but a lot of women.
So
either out of the workforce or part-time.
Because I've been told by several people who've made that point that it's because they want to have kids that they don't increase in, like, they don't become the CEO position, right?
Right. They think it's better. They're better time served at home.
I would argue that I wouldn't keep working a job either if I couldn't move up.
But some jobs you only got one CEO.
Oh, but you have several different management positions. Like, there's a reason that it's rare to see a woman in a management position, and it's because of, like, you're saying, well, they want to have a kid at 35. So most businesses will be like, well, I'm not going to she's going to have a kid.
Right.
But, like, by that logic, you shouldn't promote men either. As a matter of fact, the only people that should be in management positions, if we're going to go follow that logic fully, is barren women and castrated men.
Why don't you just hire who the best person is for the job?
Well, I'm not arguing with that. But when you look at the full scope of it, you're going to tell me, we're both sitting here, you just said that women are better at management, right? Just in that realm.
A nurturing type deal. They're perfect. Like secretaries and stuff, they are very organized.
I would argue that a manager needs to be nurturing to employees. Otherwise, people aren't going to want to work for you. Yeah, that's why you fight for. That's why you fight for your boys to get tips on a shitty hunting day. That's being nurturing, because they deserve money.
Everybody should tip on it.
Absolutely,
20%.
Absolutely.
And
if they don't, what do you say? You go after them. You say, hey,
I don't go after them. I just bring up. I say, hey, but I do that for the ladies that work here too.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying you're a manager and you're nurturing your employee by saying, hey, if they come in here and they try to skimp on the tip, don't worry. Jeff's got you. Like if somebody has a shitty hunting day, I know because Zach's told me about the times that they've had shitty hunting days. Somebody comes in and they're like, they don't leave a tip, or they leave like $20 and it was a fucking huge group or whatever. And their reason is, well, I had a shitty hunting day. And you tell them that doesn't mean that Andy didn't get up at 3:00 in the morning and dig your fucking hole for you. But that's just I'm just saying that is aspect of being a nurturing manager to your employee. He can trust that you're gonna have his back in a room where he's not in.
But
right?
Let's talk about a different. Let's talk about Coca-Cola.
Sure.
Just a big company that's doing it and stuff. And I don't know who their CEO might be. A woman, might be a man. I don't have a clue who it is.
I know if you work for McDonald's, you got a better shot at moving up the corporate ladder if you're a woman
or a minority.
If you are a white man about 45 years old, you're stuck where you are. And I know that because I have a friend that is a white man about 45 years old, and he's like,
can't go up no more.
I can't go up anymore.
And I think that's wrong. But I also think it would be wrong to not let a woman up because of that reason.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of women also, especially the people on the left, look down on women on the right, and especially women. White women are the worst in the world about this. They look down at other women. They just want to be a stay-at-home mom. You know, she left her job and she just wants to stay home and raise kids. I think that's a blessing. I think a kid that's got a mom at home has got a step up in life. I think he's got such a good childhood. My mom had to work. I didn't have that. My boys had that. My boys were very blessed. I bet you see Michelle bring lunches to school and did all the same. Not all kids are blessed like that. I think that is a blessing to have a stay-at-home mom. And it's not for all women. If that's not your game, that's good. I'm good with that. But I think it's great when we have more moms that stay at home. And I think if you looked at the statistics, and I do not have them in front of me, of moms that stay at home with their kids, I think their kids have a more stable home life and are more involved.
It's just that you're not. It's just you're not giving you're not putting your kids. How do I put this? You're not outsourcing.
You're not outsourcing your child raising.
Right. Like with my boys, you know, they're busy in sports. We go to church. Like, you know, jujitsu's a big part of their life. Well, like if Jesse and I, you know, if we're very blessed in the fact that Jessie can create her own schedule most of the year, I can create my own schedule. So like we can instill our values into our kids, where a lot of people don't have that good fortune, and their kids go to daycare at 2 years old. And then they go to pre-K 3, and then it's pre-K 4, and then, you know, kindergarten at 5 years old. And they're like, you've just outsourced the raising of your children to the state. And that's where I think that we see a lot of things kind of going off the rails right now. That and the lack of mental institutions.
I will argue, I want to go back to what you said, that women on the left are upset with women who want to stay home and be moms. That is not a correct interpretation. I get what you're pointing to, but that's not why to speak as a man for women. That's not why they're upset. What's upsetting people is when people come out and say that's where they should be, and then it becomes this whole talk about how, well, yeah, because women shouldn't be in the. We've already done this before. It was called women's suffrage. It was called the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, where everybody just agreed that women shouldn't be in the workforce.
I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and I don't ever remember anybody saying a woman shouldn't be working.
But they were. That's fine. You may not remember it. Doesn't mean it wasn't happening.
Who was saying this?
Well, in the 70s, what jobs did women have?
They could have done anything they wanted to do. There was women doctors.
That's not true. That's not true.
By and large,
hold on.
By and large, I think in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, most women had that secretary position. You watch Mad Men, and I think that's a pretty accurate representation.
Hold on. I grew up in these times. You guys weren't even here. In the 80s, my dad was a fireman in Wichita Falls, and I can get a fireman to come in here and say there. They had to hire women to be firemen.
That's good.
Oh, no, it's not.
Why?
Oh, let me finish. Let me tell you why. They had a different standard than the men did. A woman had to carry a dummy upstairs that weighed 100 pounds. My dad had to carry a dummy that weighed 200 pounds. How many 100-pound firemen you know wearing gear that a woman can pull out of a fire?
Okay, this is...
No, hold on. So, if she can fit the same standard...
Am I supposed to argue standards before I was born?
Well, no, you talked about what was going on, and I was there. So, why should she have a separate set of standards? I didn't have a problem with a woman being a fireman, but she should have the same standards that a man does.
I don't think anybody's arguing that.
Well, I mean, you said that's...
But that was the 70s,
well,
right? They also required women to take secretaries classes in high school that they didn't require young men to do.
I took typing in high school. It was elective. And I was in school in the 80s.
But my mom was in school in the 50s, and she was required to take secretaries class.
I wasn't here in the 50s. But I'm just telling you.
My point exactly. So I can't argue about what they were doing in the 70s.
You said the 70s and 80s.
Because of the history of that, right? Like, just like you're saying. Let's use your point. Why shouldn't it be 200 pounds apiece, right?
Yes.
It should be 200 pounds apiece.
It should be a standard.
That's because women were considered to be weaker than men at those times, so they shifted the standards, and that's not the case.
It's because women couldn't pass the test that a man did because there wasn't very many women out there that could pass.
So they considered them to be weaker than men.
They were. They are.
They aren't.
Yes, they are too. Riley, you train.
You know why? You know why I know that? Because I have a girlfriend who can lift me and put me on her fucking shoulders.
Okay,
and she was. Hang on. No. Because she was a fucking combat medic.
Yeah.
And she had to meet the same goddamn standards that every other fucking dude with a dick between his legs had to meet. Don't sit here. So don't fucking tell me that if you're going to agree with me that that's right and that's good, then don't fucking sit here and tell me that they're fucking weak. Because they're not. Just proved
women are weaker than men. On a statistic, on average, every woman is. You know what? Can she lift as much as a man can?
I'll give you that.
A man
I will concede 1 point as a powerlifting coach.
On average,
yes.
Weaker.
There you go. There are some women out there that are strong, but the best Olympic heavyweight women lifter is not going to couldn't win the gold medal in the men's division.
No, I could agree there.
There you go. That's my point. I'm not saying there aren't some women, but
it's not across the board. Is my point.
There are anomalies in every situation,
and she passed the standards, and that's good. She should have that job. I don't have a problem with that. But they ought to set the same standard. Men and women, if you're trying for a job, I don't care what a woman does. I do not care. If someone's going to operate on my heart, if it's a man or a woman, I want the best person as a surgeon. I don't care what their sex is. I don't give a shit. But don't tell me that women are stronger than men, because they're not. There are women that are stronger than I am. There's a lot of them. I'm sure your girlfriend can bench press me to death. I know that. She's in better shape than I am. I know that. I'm not saying that. But if you take pound for pound, it's just like these guys in these girls' track meets. It's not fair because men are faster than women. And that's proven. There are women that are faster than a lot of men.
There's actually research coming out now because I have to study this. And like as a strength coach, I have to know this shit. And as a person who's hosted strongman competitions, because to give strongman credit, like when all of that, when you know, they tried to be as fair as they could. So they just opened up a division for trans athletes. If you're a trans athlete, here's your division.
With that.
Right? No problem. But doing that and hosting those, I needed to inform myself. And there is more and more research coming out that in situations, which is why I push back so hard, in situations such as swimming, sprinting, when it comes down to explosive movements, it is a much smaller margin of advantage when it comes to men and women. When it comes to physical, like weight moves weight, right? That is still a big margin, but there's been several professors come out, and the best way that I heard it put that I agree with is the focus should be on creating meaningful competition, right? Regardless of who that is. Because I've seen people take advantage of the system, and I've seen people suffer from the system being in that. And I've also coached people on both sides of this, right? Like I've coached people who are in the LGBTQ community, and I've helped coach people who want nothing to do with it. And my experience as a coach has shown me that in some regards there is a very clear kind of difference, but in other regards there's not. I can put two athletes together right now, same age. If I put two 16-year-old athletes together right now, same age, same weight, same height, there's a pretty good chance she's going to jump farther and run faster. That doesn't mean that one can't be better than the other. But the issue that people have with that is you bring that rhetoric back around and it starts to dilute the conversation, right? Where we're talking about anomalies in specific situations that need to be handled situationally. And instead it becomes, no, they're just weaker and we can't let this happen. And then, like you're talking about in the 70s, standards start getting shifted. Standards start, well, they're weaker, but we don't want to keep them out of the workforce, so let's give them a 100-pound dummy. Instead, like I train a lady in the Air Force. She goes, my training isn't any different than those dudes that are up there. I think she runs cargo or whatever, but I have to move this. That's why she's getting training. I have to move the same weight. I have to run the same stuff. I have to do meet all of these standards. So my point is that when you start bringing that back up, it gives an opportunity for people to go, see, they're weak, so we got to either kick them out or make different standards. And I agree with you. There should, and most women on the left, almost all women on the left agree with this. I don't know the one that doesn't. There shouldn't be. There's just a standard.
Yeah. Well, the problem is when you set a quota to something.
Sure.
Like whenever,
and that is also dangerous.
We have to have 10% of the work of this specific job has to be a woman. It's got to be, a person of color or whatever. And it's just like the standard should be the standard no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. And I think everybody agrees with that.
You shouldn't have to hire 2 women firefighters just to meet this quota that the government has set up.
And that's what they used to have to do.
And I've never had I've had plenty of women clients that, most of them in the Air Force, and they have to meet physical standards. None of them have complained about the standards they've had to meet. They've complained about the fact that they're like, you have 12 weeks to get up to meet this standard, and then they move it down to 3 weeks, and they're like, fuck, I wasn't ready for that.
The 6 years that Payne was in the Army, the first 2 years compared to the Biden years, they lowered all the standards during the Biden years. He said it was ridiculous what they had to do compared to what they did before.
I mean, I can't,
and that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that.
It's the dumbest shit ever.
It's the same reason why we shouldn't have a fat resource officer.
No, if you're going to be a police officer, and I'm going to say this now. In a big city or a big deal where you got a big pool to pull from and you need to hire 100 cops, you should hire the top 100 cops. I don't give a shit if they're all black, blue, brown, white, yellow, male, female. The top 100 people that fit the criteria is who you should hire. They have to pass the test. They got to do everything. That's the top 100 people.
Sure.
But we got to such a point that we try to give tax breaks to people for hiring this or doing that, and that's bullshit. And that's where we've gotten into a big problem in our country, all this woke shit.
Well,
hire the best person for a job. It's kind of like the NFL. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it is.
I love the NFL.
But the NFL, these people say they got the Rooney Rule, where you've got to interview a minority before you hire them. Well, first of all,
there's a history behind that.
Hold on. We got Joe. We're just going to call everybody Joe. We've got Joe over here, and we're going to interview him because we have to interview a black man. But we're not going to give Joe the job because we're going to give Joe the white guy here because that's what we want to hire. But we have to interview him. They interview him to fulfill the Rooney Rule. Then they hire the guy they want.
Right.
These guys are billionaires. They own the team. It's not a problem. They ought to be able to hire who they want.
No, I mean, it doesn't fix the issue that you're trying to fix.
You own.
Still not hiring him.
You own an NFL team. You should be able to hire who you want. You own that team. It's a billionaire. It's not a corporation. You own that team. If I'm a billionaire and I can afford to buy an NFL franchise, first thing, I want to win. Right. Everybody up there wants to win. So I'm going to hire whoever I think's the best coach. Some of the guys they hire are fucking ridiculous. The Steelers, Mike Tomlin was a coach for 19 years. The last 12 years, 500 football.
Yeah.
They should have got rid of him a long time ago. He's a good coach, but he can't win it all no more.
I don't think anybody has a problem with that.
Marvin Lewis, a black guy, same way. They hired the same white guy over and over and again. Then the argument is, well, Bill Belichick had 3 jobs before he went to New England, was successful. So I don't know, but if you're an NFL team, I think the Rooney Rule's stupid. I think the owners ought to be able to hire who they want, regardless of what color they are. If I'm the owner, I ought to be able to hire who I want. I can hire whoever guy I want. If you want to hire another trainer, should you have to interview somebody based on what sex they are or color they are? No, you should hire whoever's the best for your company.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't think anybody has a problem with that.
Oh, they do.
I mean, some people might, and to speak about it as if there's no history behind a lot of this, I think is a little obtuse, because there is a history behind the NFL. There is a history behind all private equity and corporations in this nation. So I think that there's a balance that can be struck. I don't think that making a quota is the right way to do it, because then you end up with what happens at our elite universities, right? Where they're like, we're just going to get we're just going to ignore black, brown, and white and only bring Asians in because they have really good GPAs, right? And that's one of the problems with our elite schools.
And Harvard's famous for being
that's
hostile
wrong.
towards the Japanese and Chinese. You know, I was at Harvard a couple years ago, and I've been on the campus I think 3 times. And you want to know what I found at Harvard that was really interesting? When you walk on that campus, some of the smartest people in the world are there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. Facebook was started. There's so many big corporations. The CEOs are at that school. There's sharp people there. When you walk on that campus, the kids that are the happiest looking are the kids of color.
Yeah, they're happy to be there.
They
busted their ass to
they
get there.
They appreciate to being there. You know, the kid that looks miserable there is the pasty white kid. And that's the truth. I noticed that when I was there, because Grandpa Thurgood went to school here, and I have to go to school here.
Yeah, I don't have a life.
Or I'm the 5th generation that's had to be here, and I really don't want to be here. I would rather go to art school somewhere. I don't even want to go to school. I want to go to Colorado and live on the ranch or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they have to be there, and they look miserable. And I'm sure there's a lot of happy white kids that go there. I mean,
sure.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
I would be if I had a trust fund.
There's plenty of white kids there.
But no, it's not. You'd be surprised. You would really be surprised by that. It's not just mostly white kids, but the happiest looking kids were the kids, especially the Chinese looking kids.
Well,
and the hottest chicks walking around were the
Probably
Oriental
happy to-
Chinese chicks. I'm telling you, the white girls.
Oriental is so dated. That's wild. I love it.
Is that a bad word though?
It's just
I
funny.
got in
It's just you
trouble.
just don't hear it. I mean, yeah, people don't. I guess they don't appreciate it, but it's just wild to hear people say it.
But that's a word that I grew up with. It includes everyone.
It's just not. I think it's just not referred to as that anymore. So I guess people, I don't.
Can you tell the difference between someone that's from Japan and Korea? Because I can't.
Yeah, I see. I mean, they're different people.
I can't. I don't see the difference. Can you tell the difference between someone from Jamaica and a guy from Brooklyn, black guy?
I mean, it just depends. They look different.
When you hear them,
I mean, they don't talk like that.
the Jamaicans have a.
If he's from straight Jamaica, but I can't. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between 2 bald white men. Like if people look similar. But like you can tell I know Cambodian and people from Cambodia and people from Guam, right?
I can't tell.
Like, there's nothing wrong with saying that people from the same area look similar.
No, it's not racist at all. It's honest.
Like, yeah, I look like a lot of Mexicans. You know
you're
what I mean?
Mexican. You
Exactly.
should be.
And then when I grow my hair out and my beard's long, I look like a lot of Middle Eastern people. You know, as a matter of fact, nobody's ever guessed that I was Mexican when my beard was long. Everybody was like, Are you Middle Eastern? And I'm like, no, man. I'm from here.
MJ Labila looks like a camel rider when you see him with his shit on. Sometimes I even call him Johnny Muhammad.
Have you
God,
seen this
you're gonna
video?
get me.
Speaking of standards, like how did this guy pass? Like what standard did this guy pass?
That's what I was going to get to a minute ago.
What are we doing, son?
Yeah.
Oh, why don't I have audio, son?
It's not on the thing.
Oh, thank you, Riley.
There you go.
Damn it! I'm trying to get the taser.
I'm trying to get the taser.
God damn it. Fucker. Ah, shit, I shot my fucking self.
We know.
That's the problem that we deal with now. I'm not going to take
I shot
up.
my fucking self.
I'm not taking up for the police officer because he needs to be trained. But here's the deal: when you're in a small town and you have to hire a police officer,
That's different.
You know how hard it is to find officers.
Oh, I'm
first of
sure.
all, that's what I'm saying. In a big department, it's easy. In small towns, you can't hardly find anybody. First of all, you can't hardly wants to be a cop, and it's hard to get good training on them. And there are some really good officers have come through here, and there's some guys that did not have reason to be cops.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get my
I know
taser.
that, but it's hard to find police officers. And I have said this before when all this shit happened, it would be nice for the federal government to put an officer in every school in America. So we'd have a cop in every school and a federal police officer and small town police officers be able to get one guy to be a small town cop. That's a police officer that's still on the federal budget. Federal government can afford it. They can just take away the child care from the small and daycare fund and put that all into America. And you could get cops in schools that are trained right and in small towns.
And free jujitsu.
So I have then that leads into current events. So they recently had a whistleblower from ICE testifying that they cut out like almost all constitutional training, any of those, and we've just had 2 people get shot. Now I don't necessarily. Well, you know where I fall on it. I held 2 protests.
One of them, the lady that ran over the guy, she deserved what she got.
So I want to address that.
Okay.
I want to address that, but I want to address it from a way that that I don't think enough people are addressing it. Because you made a good point just now, and I want to build on that. Not with that woman was wrongfully killed, and I'm going to tell you why I think that. You told me just now that it is important that we have cops that are well trained and they should be yada yada yada, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it explicitly states in safety protocol for the DHS, and I have it in my phone if I need to, but you can also Google it. The DHS safety protocol for officers explicitly states, do not approach a vehicle from the back, do not approach a vehicle from the front, do not stand in front of a vehicle, and do not fire at a moving vehicle, because just because you shoot, it says this, just because you shoot the driver doesn't mean the vehicle stops. And it obviously didn't hit it. It hit a parked car. So it's come out that officer is not new. He's been doing it for a long time. So you're telling me right now that officer can break 3 standards of safety protocol. Not to mention the fact that he endangered other officers by shooting a moving vehicle, shooting the driver of a moving vehicle. He put 2 more shots into her face through the driver's side window, which means he was not in front of the vehicle.
The first window went through the windshield, though.
That's whatever. Then explain the next 2. But my point is, how is it okay for an officer that's got 10 years experience, according to them, to break 3 officer safety standard protocols, shoot a civilian, a U.S. citizen, in the face 3 times, and it's her fault? Because I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to bring any names up, but I don't think why do you have an officer put a car in park? Right? Why do you have an officer announce themselves at somebody's door? It's not just because of the person in there. It's for the officer's safety too. It's so that he doesn't knock on a door and get shot in the fucking face. And if he does, he announced himself, and that person is now liable. So my issue is, there is all this onus put on a U.S. citizen when the federal officer, who is trained for 10 years, breaks an entire line of safety protocols before this happens that are specifically put in place to prevent this from happening.
Okay, can I debate?
So the issue that people are having, by the way, is that nothing is happening about this. No, there's not an investigation. The state has been blocked out of this investigation, and no charges have been brought. And so me, as somebody who's been hosting these protests, everybody goes, where's the justice for all these other people, right? Well, all the people who have been killed by undocumented people, right?
Illegals.
Sure, illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call them.
Well, that's what they are.
They've all been charged and put in prison.
Okay.
For what they did. This person, a federal officer who has the right to shoot U.S. citizens if he feels justified, breaks 3 safety protocols to prevent that from happening, right? Like, okay.
You've okay. Now we can keep going on.
Do you have safety as somebody who has firearms out here?
No. Nothing to do with me and my business. No, it doesn't.
Because you have firearms out here.
It doesn't. We don't go around shooting people anyways. We're not in the job of arresting people. Now hold on. I'm going to debate this with you, or do my stake. We have got ICE arrests all over the country. We have one place we're having problems. Minneapolis. I have no problems.
And that's on
else.
purpose, though.
Well, of course it is. It's because they brung in all the Somalians. That's what the Democrat Party wants to do.
Well, it's only happening in majority blue states. If you look at it, it's only California, Chicago, and Minnesota.
We're having problems. No, hold on. Let me finish.
I mean, I'm just saying Texas has got all these problems, but yet
there's a ton of arrests in Florida and Texas. That's right, because they're not going around blowing whistles.
No, because they're following due process and acting like police officers.
Let me finish now, okay?
Okay.
I'll let you talk your deal, and I'm going to talk mine now. The lady tried to run over the guy. Whether training or not, you try to run over a police officer, you put yourself in that situation. She got what she deserved.
Who put that officer in front of the car?
It doesn't matter. Hold on.
That's the rule.
He tried. It's a police officer's job. What ought to happen is someone like you ought to ride around with these guys and see what they go through in a day. Same with another police officer. You ought to ride along in Abilene and see what those guys have to go through in a day. Just ride along with one and see the bullshit they got to put up with in a day. Every single fucking day. They got these people whistling. That lady was nothing more than a paid agitator. I'm sorry she lost her life. She tried to run over the guy. She got what she does. The second guy that got killed, I don't think was justified. He had a right to carry a gun there. Mm-hmm. He has that right. I don't know that he had his gun on him. I think another officer took his gun and the gun went off.
You want to see the slow motion of it?
I've seen this stuff, and I don't.
Did you see it? Not to interrupt, but did you see it from the side?
I don't know,
because you can see clearly an officer. Like, I can show it to you later.
The guy grabbed a gun and the gun went off, and I think it was they said that guy's gun had discharged, accidental discharge. Whatever happened.
No, that brand of gun.
That gun, and I think that gun went off. And when someone thought that he was shooting, and they shot him. I told you, I'm not on that one. I'm not saying that was justified. The lady, I think, was justified. Okay, the big problem is in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, is Tim Walz and Ellison did not want to do anything about all Somalian fraud. And that's where we got to this place with the Somalians, because they wanted to win that damn election. And I think it's all a big mess, but it's just in Minneapolis. Minneapolis is a shithole. It is no different. New York's going to be the same way before long. I'm telling you right now, mark my words, 10 years from now, nobody will want to go to New York City. It's going to be just like London. It's going to be unsafe. The Muslims there, they want Sharia law. They want all this shit.
It's fucking crazy.
No, it's not crazy at all. You been to Dearborn, Michigan lately? You
Why would I go to Dearborn?
I have been there, and I've seen this shit. Go to New York. You got all these people. They do not respect our culture.
Sharia law is already illegal, right?
I'm not saying it's not, but that's what they want. You go to London right now, there's neighborhoods
How many
cops can't even
Muslims
go
do we
to.
have in our national Congress right now?
Too many. I don't know how many we have. Too many.
Tell me how many. Because 75% is white Christian.
Okay, so what's wrong with that?
What is it, 2? How many people?
No, there's more than that.
That's my point.
Probably 6 of them.
That's my point. Like, like, whatever, the fraud, fine. I don't know.
You don't have a problem with the fraud?
No. Like, investigate, do what you got to do over there. If there's fraud, fine. But this horseshit idea that there's this big goddamn takeover of our fucking country when like 85% of our population is is Christian, and a large swath of it.
How long until you wake up and you say that? I mean, how long does it have to take until New York City's got 51% of people living there are Muslims?
Why does it take? You know who cares about New York? You know who cares about New York?
Who?
People who live in New York.
And people that don't live in New York.
And if that's what they want, then they're in New York,
a lot of
son.
people don't want that shit, but they get pushed away. I just saw where a lady. Hold on. I just saw a video yesterday with the lady in the Grapevine Mills Mall had a Jesus shirt on, and they escorted her out for wearing a shirt. I got a video the other day of a school board somewhere. They kicked a kid out for wearing an American flag on his shirt. Just American flag. Didn't say nothing. It was just American flag.
Yeah, and they're suspending kids for exercising their First Amendment right to protest. So what's the point here?
Not during school hours. Go to school.
You can do that.
But
It's literally your right to do that. You can. There can be consequences, but they're trying to punish entire school districts for students exercising their right. What you're talking about are the same problems we're having.
Okay, I want to touch on this. You're running as a Democrat.
Yeah.
I like you a lot. I'm not a Democrat. I would never vote for a Democrat in my life. I just can't do it because there's nothing that y'all's party stands for that stands for anything I believe in.
You haven't even asked anything about what I stand for as a state legislator.
Okay, but it's your Democratic Party. And that's y'all's party is being hijacked by these things. Hold on just a minute. At the State of the Union address, Donald Trump said, "You stand with Americans over illegal aliens, illegal immigrants." Not one Democrat. Well, I take that back. The guy from John Fetterman stood. Not one Democrat stood for that.
Yeah, he's got 800-something thousand from AIPAC. He's going to do whatever they tell him.
So you don't think you should stand for America first over illegal immigrants?
That is an entirely what is a gimmick move.
How's it a gimmick move?
Because what's happening in our country. We talked about this on the first episode. The reason you say that is to make you ask me a question when the real issue is that the 4th and 5th Amendment are being violated. Due process is being violated.
You don't think you should stand for America first?
You could. That is a hell of a question for you to ask me when we're trying to fight a fucking war in Iran. We sent $40 billion to Argentina. Why the fuck would I listen to somebody who's willing to give $40 billion to Argentina and 12 to the fucking American farmers? You're going to ask me about America first? Give me a fucking break,
So
Jeff.
you don't have a problem with them giving all the money to all the Somalians and the billions
all the fucking money.
You don't believe that? You don't think there's billions of dollars? They're investigating.
The federal government's job is to investigate that, and that's what they're doing.
The Democratic Party, y'all want to sweep across everything. So you wouldn't stand. Okay, let me ask you this then. You always talk about.
I would not stand for somebody who is obviously sitting up there being a fucking hypocrite. Are you kidding me, dude? We took a plane from Qatar. We put you have all these problems with Middle Eastern people, yet your president is taking planes from Qatar. He's doing the bidding.
Planes. They're using a plane for the
Yeah, okay, so
Air
we would
Force
have
One.
so Iran would always lie to us, but Qatar would never lie to us about fucking bugging our plane. Andy, are you like, help me out here? You're cool with that? Like,
No,
what the fuck are we talking about? We're worried about Sharia law, but we'll go ahead and fucking invite somebody who killed American citizens, by the way. He's the new president of Syria. Great guy. Really like the guy. He fucking killed American soldiers. So spare me the American first bullshit.
So what
when
about-
he's up there inviting a... You
What
can
about
agree
Joe
that...
Biden left $30 billion
What about the
worth?
fucking geriatric? I don't give a fuck about Joe
Well, then
Biden.
he
Get
was
him the
this-
fuck out too.
Okay, who do you want to see run y'all's party then?
Somebody who's going to fight for somebody who is going to support public education, support Americans having free and affordable, or at least affordable health care, support the housing crisis that we're all fucking going through, and bring our goddamn beef prices down. And you know what that doesn't have to do with? Sharia law or fucking gay people. When I go to the store, it's not because of fucking Jose and the they them that I got to pay fucking 3 times what I had to pay last year for a goddamn sirloin.
Why do you think steak's expensive? So you think that's the
Because
government's fault?
because there's a monopoly in the beef industry. There's only 4 fucking meat packers, and they make all the prices. Ranchers get fucked, and so does the consumer, and they make all the money. They're the fucking middleman, and they need to be broken up.
So that is true.
Thank you.
I don't have a problem with that part.
That's what I fucking
That-
stand
but,
for.
But this is so this is the problem that we are at right now.
Thank you. Thanks for being the moderator, Andy.
The problem that we're at right now is you're bringing up national issues, and Riley's trying to talk about how he can fix his local constituents here in Texas.
District
let's talk-
28
let's talk-
specifically.
let's talk state issues then.
But this is just where we're at. Is kind of goes back to our discussion about women and there being anomalies. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There are anomalies that I don't think anybody can discount what's going on with the fraud in Minnesota, right? That's an anomaly. That's happening in one state. It's not happening in the other 49.
It's happening in all of them.
That we know about. Okay, maybe some more will come out in the federal. And like he said, the federal government is investigating what's going on in Minnesota as far as the Somali daycares. It's an anomaly. But what Riley's saying is that there are more pressing issues than, like he said, the they, them, the Sharia law. There are problems
And I can bring those up.
that average Americans are facing. There is no reason that I have to go to the grocery store. I buy bacon, eggs, and milk, and I just killed a $20 bill for 3 things: bacon, eggs, and milk. $20, and I get change back.
There's no reason I should walk out of HEB with fucking 3 bags of groceries and I spent $150 goddamn dollars. And it ain't even going to get me through a week and a half.
The average home cost is what, like $400 now?
Yeah.
Three,
and we can talk
$350?
about that because I just went and spoke at this Council of Governments on this issue that we're having.
So, like, I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I listened to Dr. Peterson a lot. He said, for anybody to care about the environment, they got to make like globally. For anybody to care about the environment, they got to make about $2,000 a year. That's when people start giving a fuck about tomorrow or next year or next month. But when people are in a crisis,
You mean a month? You said a year.
yeah, no, it's a year.
$2,000 a year?
If you look at globally,
okay.
globally, like
I understand now.
the
Ethiopia is
Breaking
making
down-
$40
down.
a year.
every
7 billion people,
globally, globally, it's about $2,000 a year before you start caring about tomorrow. Right now, you're like, I got to keep my family warm. Let's cut this fucking tree down and burn the bitch.
Yeah.
We can't save the rainforest if you're poor. You don't give a fuck. 'Cause
Yeah.
you don't have the resources to expand your
Sure.
mind that much.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, I've got to do this now. Let's do it now. There are a lot of Americans that are struggling right now financially. Groceries, housing, insurance is fucked up. Like we just talked about earlier, I've never had dental insurance. Still don't have dental insurance. I got to go to the fucking Midwestern to catch a deal with a dental hygienist.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like I'm doing okay financially. But there's a lot of Americans out there that are one medical crisis away from being bankrupt. If you go back to when mom had her tumors and you put that in today's standards, would that not have crippled y'all financially if you look at it from my point of view as a 35-year-old man?
Mom was 30 years old when that happened, and we
Right,
had
but that
shitty
was-
insurance. Hold on, we had shitty
But that was
insurance.
30 years ago.
Right, and we had shitty insurance just like we have now.
But it's
It-
expensive now.
A dollar
Like, I
was worth
can't-
$2
I
back
can't
then.
even afford shitty insurance now.
Hold on, no, I know that, but we had shitty insurance.
But I think most people starting out as a new married couple are one medical incident away from financial ruin for the rest of their life.
And this is my answer, and it's not a good answer, but it's the only answer you got. Is pay them fuckers $10 a month. As long as you pay your hospital bill.
Oh.
$10 a month.
It's like who?
If you, mom's Michelle had 2 tumors on her brain. She had to have 2 surgeries. With pain. And after she had pain, she had this, and it was about $2 million was her bill. And we had shitty insurance. It was a what the hell they even call that used to? Major medical, which they don't have now.
Crisis
but it was
like
affordable to the degree that even back in them times it was a couple $100 a month, but the deductible was like $7,500.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of money back in 1997 for us.
Money now.
Well, but it was really a lot of money back then.
Mine's 5 and I can't fucking afford to have my shoulder replaced.
We've got shitty insurance too.
Yeah.
We can't afford good insurance because we're unemployed. I mean, we're not unemployed, we're self-employed. So we can't get good insurance. But if something happened, I can pay them $10, $20 a month. I've got a standing rotation. They pull out $20 a month from Knox City Hospital until the day I die. Yeah. And when I die, I thought I almost had some bitch paid off their day. I looked and had like $3,300 still owed them. I thought, son of a bitch. I'll never pay it off. We'll die and we'll still be drafting $20 a month out of our deal.
And that's horseshit. You should just be able to be taken care of.
As a kid growing up, I don't ever remember my parents having to worry about medical bills. Now, my dad was a fireman, so we had insurance. But I know it wasn't good insurance. My mom worked for the state. But I don't ever remember medical deals being a big thing like it is. In every hospital, in every town, the biggest, nicest place is the oncology ward, where they fuck the shit out of you over cancer shit. And you have a hard time convincing me that that's not a moneymaker.
But I mean, just like the other day, like Jameson.
Dialysis is also a moneymaker.
Everything. And
Jameson split his head open the other day. Had to have 6 staples.
Crash.
Yeah, crash. Had to have 6 staples.
It'll cost you $7,500.
Gosh almighty.
I mean, it's just, that's going to be a couple grand in the ER bill.
And like, so when, not to cut you off, sorry, Andy. When you say like, we don't stand for anything, that pisses me off because I've been spending half a fucking year telling people what I stand for. It's got nothing to do with any of that. The 3 things I'm running on are regulating these AI data centers, funding our fucking public schools, because I don't like the fact that I'm talking to a special ed teacher in Knox City and she's telling me she's struggling. That's fucking crazy. Because I went to that school and I got to pull a student off of our fucking principal. Okay? Me and your son. Because mental health issues.
And he should have been locked up. He should have been not locked up.
Yeah, right. I know what you mean. He should have been taken care of better.
We need more mental hospitals.
Absolutely.
They've taken
I don't
that shit out in the 80s.
disagree with that. That was crazy.
They should be more mental hospitals.
Yeah, it's like, hey, why don't you just reform it? Like, you know what I mean?
You go by the state hospital in Wichita Falls right now, and they're adding on and build that some bitch nice. Well, it'd be nice if people used to live there. We had a lady when I was a kid that cut her baby's heart out. That was big news.
I'm sure.
Nowadays, everything. Well, it is.
Right,
but now everything's globally.
Right. Everything's fucking national.
Something like that happens everywhere.
Yeah.
But growing up, you didn't hear about you only heard
that
local
happens
shit.
there.
It was big news. So they we bring me a water if you're going to the deal. So, anyways,
Sparkling or flat?
Flat. If we have flat, if not sparkling. But anyways,
my God.
They cut the heart out. This lady cut the heart out. Well, she walked away from the state hospital where she lived. I was in 5th grade, maybe. We were duck hunting with my dad in Lake Wichita. We could see the state hospital from where we were hunting at. I was scared to death this lady was going to come through there. And my dad's a giant. I didn't think that. I was like, oh God, she's going to come here and kill all of us and shit.
Yeah.
We all got shotguns and shit, but it really bothered me. But that's where we need people like that locked up. Now, anyways, you touched on things that I agree with you on the school funding deal.
That's crazy.
If we can do, and it's not just the Somalian fraud, it's fraud everywhere. I just saw today that they think it's $1 trillion a year Medicaid fraud in our country, not up there, the whole country. $1 trillion a year is wasted on fraud in our government, $151 million an hour or something. But a big portion of that is Medicaid. They found in Florida, I think today, $338 billion or $338 million. That money right there, hold on a second. But if we could take that money that we're given, this fraud's taken away, and could fund our schools with an officer, pay our teachers better. And our teachers did get some raise. The government did something, and I'm not.
But
I'm not
keep with inflation.
But I'm not. But they still gave them a raise. But these little town schools out here, they don't have any extra money.
No, they don't.
To fund these teachers and to do more, and the state needs to step in. So I would like to see us take some of that money that we're using on that. But you touched on the data centers. I want to get into that. My biggest problem with the data centers is the water issue. I have a real problem with the water issue, and everybody does. When they say, they're getting so many millions of gallons a year on water. Well, Andy's on water board, and Andy can touch on this better than I can. But on the water board deal, a farmer that's got a 160 acre pivot and he waters for 3 days straight, 72 hours straight. He's using more water than those data centers are going to use by a long way.
Yeah, he's growing things.
Well, but it's still water. And he's okay.
Okay, but like I like food.
No.
I can't eat data.
I understand that, and I agree with you on that. I'm not anti-farmer at all.
No, I know.
I'm just saying if you put it into perspective, how much water is used, it's zillions of gallons of water are used. Same as when we have a big thunderstorm. You get a 2-inch thunderstorm over somebody. We looked up and it's a gazillion gallons of water. So when we hear that the data centers are using 1 million gallons of water a day, we're like, oh my God, that's well. When in the overall scheme of it, that's 160 acre cotton crop for 12 hours being watered. Is all it is. It's the same thing.
But to be fair, we don't know that. We don't know that they're going to use them. That's what they tell us, and they have a reason. Like here's where I fall in this, because people will ask me, so they want me to pick like a side, right? Yeah. They want me to be a crazy leftist or a
heaven forbid you be
heaven forbid I enjoy revenue and also like to keep my town safe. So first of all, what we're dealing with in Abilene is they're putting, well, in District 28, but in our area, they're going to put like 8 data centers there. Now, y'all, I don't know if you know anything about the other side over towards Albany. There ain't no fucking water out there.
No,
So
they're building a big one there.
Exactly. There ain't no water out. You're not getting a water well out there, right? So
Didn't
that
they
water's
just
got
build a lake? Didn't they pass building a lake or something?
I believe
out there?
that was Stanford, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, they're building a lake like
They're doing a lot
Possum
of
Kingdom.
different stuff out there, right?
Yeah.
On the Crooked River Ranch, the old Crooked River Ranch is where they'll build that lake.
There you go. One of the issues that's happening is, well, quite honestly, I can't use data, and none of that land, like, let's take the windmills, for instance. Everybody hated the windmills. I lived out on that ranch when they built the windmills, and they put a whole ass work camp out there. Now you can't ever tell that was there because all the trees have grown back up, grass has come back, that's all gone. That's not going to happen with these data centers. That land is irreversibly changed. There is no growing back. There is no wildlife that's going to come back there. Hell, they've got fucking concertina wire around the whole thing. I've been out there. So when you say, well, like, it's going to use this much and it's not as much as farmers, well, farmers grow our food, and our state is losing 2% of farmland every single year, year over year, and has been for God knows how long. So
what does it go back to? Does it go into like CRP, or does it go into industrialization or
mostly to
urbanization?
Mostly to industrialization, corporations, and luxury hunting, high fence,
right.
Places like that are like, I don't want to say that like luxury hunting is the one of the causes. It's just increased.
A cause,
right? Like it's increasing as well, and which makes sense, right? Texas is 95% private land,
right?
So we actually don't know how much water they're going to use. And I know just from the amount of gigawatts that are going to come to our area, and this is all guesstimated on whether or not they all do the same thing that Abilene has done. And I got to give Abilene some shout outs. They put a lot of stuff in there that if they hadn't had the right people in the office, nobody would know to do, which is another problem. But there's not like definite information on how much water they're going to use. Right. And it could be 660 million gallons just to charge all of that up. It's going to be more because nobody knows how those coolers are going to react with 111 degree heat. And what they're also not talking about is it's not just water going into those servers to cool those servers. It's water going to run those air conditioners. It's water going to run those buildings. Like, it's not just the server water. The server water only is about 660, could be about 660 million gallons, if not more, depending on the size and how they work it out. But we also got to run them air conditioners. They got to run them toilets. They got to run that whole facility. So it's extra water coming off of the board. Second point, our own representative, my opponent, Charles Perry, has made it very clear that we have until 2050 to figure it out, or we are fucked. He didn't say fucked, but we're fucked.
On water?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if it'd go. I don't think 2050 is even close. I think it'd be way earlier than that.
If you're going to be my representative and you're going to tell me that, and then you're going to let these come to your district, we need to have a conversation.
I don't think you can prevent them from coming there. It's private businesses.
You can prevent them, and you can. Hang on.
At this stage of the game, how do you do it?
So, if you haven't had a data center come yet, what I would recommend doing is denying it. Just don't do it. But if you are going to have one, there are steps you can take. One step that I would take if some, like, let's say, okay, for Abilene, we're in it. It's here. It ain't leaving.
Your balls deep.
Right. We're balls deep in this thing. But there are steps we can take. I went and spoke at the Council of Governments meeting. So the Texas Ag Commission, or went and asked questions at the meeting. Texas Ag Commission cuts a $71 million check to places that want to do a development, infrastructure development in their city. If you have a project you want to work on, you can apply for this money. Potentially you'll get it, right? One of the issues we're having in Abilene is rent has spiked $1,000 in a month. I know personally several people who went from having to pay $1,200 a month to now they're at $2,000 a month, right? Some of these applications you can have is you can go in there and say, hey, and this is a kind of a public-private partnership, but one of the things I want to do is go to the city, because they have to apply for it. Go to the city, say, hey, let's go to these data centers and say, we want to create a housing mitigation trust for renters, because we have a lot of renters here, we have a lot of workers coming here, and we have 4,000 new airmen with families coming here soon.
Right.
You can create a housing mitigation fund that would help, could be invested into building houses or refurbishing houses or renovating houses, building housing units, all of that. You can require more of those people. That's kind of where I'm at. Secondly, if you're going to have them come to your area, I would, like here in Knox City, what I would recommend is, if you guys, I can't make the decisions for you guys unless I get in the Senate, then I would like to have a standard of, like, this is what you can do here, because we just can't, right? It's not, we don't have any water, you guys figure it out. It's like, no. I care about the people that put me in this place. I don't give a fuck about your profit margins. But if you are in a small city, you can do things like, I would like a progressive property tax. Hey, if you're going to come out here and buy 1,000 acres of farmland, of wheat pasture land, of cotton, peanuts, you can do yourselves a progressive tax on that, where you'd say you're going to pay like a 5% tax on top of that, because we can't use that land anymore. You can create, like our city, some of our city officials did, a air quality control that if they fucking pump that shit out and they screw up the air quality and they have to test it, then they can pay on that stuff. What I really recommend, though, is a moratorium for at least a year. I don't like this shoot first, ask questions later bullshit is killing people. Right? We shot first and asked questions later, and 100-something kids died in Kerrville, right? Because we were more worried about what bathroom somebody was using than passing a disaster bill. So it's not that they shouldn't be here, but I don't know that a 2,000 acre or whatever data center should be in Knox City, because your infrastructure cannot handle that. Well, those workers, I mean.
Here's some more data center stuff. I agree with your take on Abilene stuff, and I feel so sorry for the people that they've lived in a rent house for a long time and that the rents went up, and then I understand also where the landlord's coming from. It's his chance to make money. It's his investment. He bought it, and that's the market rate. And I don't blame him at all. I do not blame him at all. But I do feel sorry for the victims over there in between that aren't going out and taking those jobs. You got a teacher probably living in town, and she's been renting a house for $1,000 a month, can just barely afford it. Now they want $3,000 for it.
It's also hurting our tourism.
I feel bad for
there's nowhere
people can't afford to get a hotel, and just as I don't want to say like there are also housing mitigation you can do for landlords too. I have a friend of mine who keeps getting phone calls because he got a house and he's got a rent house in Buffalo Gap, which is like, that's a big deal over there in Knox City. He's gotten calls several times about like, hey, I can get you $6,000 a month. But he's got some, young lady living there. She's paying like $1,300 a month. She's been living there for 3 years. He's like, I don't want to do that to her because, she can't afford that. There's housing mitigation that can go to incentives for landlords who keep stable rent. They can say, hey, we give you, and that's where I come from, is it's like, we can work in this, guys. We can say like, who doesn't need 85% off? Those guys. But who could use it? Andy, who would like to not go up $3,000 on somebody's rent house. But let's give him an abatement because he does that, right? Let's help him out, and it helps other people out. And that's my issue, that we're not doing anything on the other side for regular folks, and nobody cares. Everybody's like, well, that's just business. Well, it's like, but we didn't ask for this.
But let's look the long term. And this is the argument, or not argument, we talked about this in town.
Yeah.
Haskell is got a lot of people there right now. And we ain't even got the big majority of all these people in our area. For everybody else,
sure.
And you know what's crazy is when we talk about this, I'm like, well, this is just happening here. This is all over the United States.
No,
data centers. You hear about it
people
everywhere.
Are fighting the hell out of it.
But 20 years from now in Knox City, Texas, if we didn't have a data center being built close to us, our town is going to wither away.
But let me ask you this, because you've said that several times. How is the average Abilene, Haskell, Knox City citizen going to benefit from the data center?
Okay, let me finish. So 20 years from now in Knox City, if we still have a hospital open, we'll have a hospital. If the school's hasn't been consolidated, we'll still have a school. What other industry do we have? We don't have much. So,
but that's what I'm saying. Like if you look at Haskell, like how is Haskell going to benefit from having this data center? Like how is their quality of life going to improve?
Not today, but I'm talking down the road.
Yep. 20 years. We'll go 20 years.
20 years down the road,
yep.
You're going to have 150 people working at that data center because it's going to take, these big data centers are going to have employees. They're going to have security. They're going to have maintenance. They're going to have regular people, and they're going to have some white collar jobs. It's going to be but it's a job. It's like any other factory. You're going to have a stable group of people that are going to work there in your community that you wouldn't have if it wasn't for that, and that'll go down to other businesses.
So let me ask you this.
So you're just going to have more sales taxes?
You're going to have jobs.
I want to argue.
Hold on. I'll come back to you. Yeah. But if General Motors came and they built a plant out there,
I understand all that.
Jobs.
But I'm just saying, what is the ultimate
jobs?
Pie in the sky. You're going to have more sales tax for your town.
I'm talking about people to live in the town.
100 people?
Because if we don't, 150 families can live there.
Okay.
Because if we don't do that, you're on school. How many kids we got in school compared to what we had 10 years ago and 20 years ago? Yeah, we're depleted.
But I don't know how many. I mean, it's kind of. It remains to be seen how many people are going to come to.
Let me pose a question that's actually
better
happening.
Than no jobs because we are dying out here.
I understand that, but I'm just saying 150 families seems kind of like a pie in the sky to me.
Let me ask you something, because this is actually I have something to go to what you're saying because this is actually a real thing that's happening now, where I'm at and other places. You're saying. I don't believe that it'll be 150. Otherwise, why would they have a minimum of 20 to get these exemptions? But regardless.
20 families?
No, you have to have a minimum. So I think I've talked about this before, but there's a state exemption program that specifically applies to data centers where they can write out all they have to have is they have to invest $200 million, which is nothing. They have to have 100,000 square, not to them anyways. They have to have 100,000 square feet dedicated to the data center, and they only have to have 20 jobs, and they can write off their electricity sales tax.
There's going to be more than 20 jobs, those big places. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of jobs.
Regardless, remains to be seen. But what
20
is
full-time jobs? Okay.
What remains to be seen. What is actually happening though, and it will happen here, is those workers are going to. 'Cause this 20 years you're talking about, how many Knox City residents are going to stay?
I don't know, but I know that we don't have.
They're gonna have to leave because that's what's happening in Abilene right now. Is people that lived in Abilene can't afford to live there. Family, like guys,
it's gonna be replaced.
I can't stress this enough. There are people that are that do community outreach to people that are struggling, and they are telling us for 15 years they have not seen families coming in,
right.
And they are turning people away. In favor for families with children,
right.
Because they have nowhere to turn. So what I'm saying is, you hit this place with 5,000 workers. There's not going to be anybody left in this town that used to live here because they can't fucking afford it.
Well, we can't have
we don't have the structure for that.
So here's the thing, like you said,
but they're going to come here.
But like you said, there's going to be 100. Your scenario is 20 years down the line. There's going to be 150 families that move into Haskell. Are there 150 houses in Haskell that they can move into?
They're building. I think they're building 20 right north of town that are nice homes, $250,000 to $500,000 homes.
Where?
Right on the north side of Haskell, right there when you come into town on the left side, right there back in there. Yeah, they're just starting them. Somebody bought 160 acres and building like 20 houses, and they're all nice houses they're building. There's going to be
$500,000 homes. $250,000, $500,000.
$250,000.
But I think that's about all you can. I mean, 2,000 square foot home. That's all you can do.
But they're not building mansions, but they're building nice homes where a family can live in. But
but not Haskell families.
Yeah, people from Haskell too. There's houses for sale. Haskell's got 3,000 people. They've stayed the same because I looked at the statistics on it. They're pretty close to staying the same.
Yeah, but how many people in Haskell are in the market for a $250,000 home?
I don't have a clue, Andy. I don't live there.
That's the problem, though. That's our issue. Is it's like that's where I keep coming at the impasse with people about this issue. Is we're talking about this like there's not like we're talking about this as if it's not having if it's just going to be fine. They'll figure it out. Like we have a 15% poverty population in this district, and that's only because the cutoff is $25,000 a year. Who the fuck is making a living on 30 or even really 35 or 40 right now?
That single teacher?
Exactly. And they can't get a loan on that $250,000 house. So it's all well and good. Revenue is all well and good, but if everybody in that community suffers for the revenue, it's not worth it. Now, what I would push back on to you is if you keep cutting public school funding, where do kids go?
Public school.
And where do kids go in Knox City? Public school. And if you keep cutting their fucking funding and not letting them hire top of the line teachers, those kids are going to go somewhere else. They just closed 6 schools in Austin. And one of the issues we have in this state, or at least one of my issues my opponent likes to brag about, is our discipline in classrooms. Andy, you were a teacher. How hard was it to manage 60 fucking kids in a classroom?
Difficult.
Yeah. So do you think shutting down more fucking schools is a good idea? No. So we need to fund these teachers, and then those teachers will bring families here smaller because it's a lot easier on the tax.
We don't have kids
base.
here.
Well, yeah, you don't fund the school.
Well,
like,
if you
that's
fund
not your fault, but like the school's not being funded.
But if you fund the school, there's no reason for it to live here. There's no jobs.
There's more jobs if you listen. That's where I was going to get to.
Okay.
So, like Andy said, there's 150 homes in Haskell to be had.
No, I don't know about that.
But there might be 4 or 5. And guess what? If you put a little funding to that school, you can get a couple good teachers. Maybe you hire a new doctor and a couple nurses who also have families to go to that school. And you build that tax bracket slowly and give everybody a chance to catch up. It's not the issue. It's not an issue of revenue. Yes, we love revenue. It's an issue of what we're seeing is going to happen in Haskell, and it's not going to be good.
We don't have jobs. We'll go to Knox City. There's no jobs here. So if you don't create some jobs through a data center somewhere.
I got a good idea for a policy, though.
What?
Okay, so how many EMTs do we have in Knox City?
I don't know.
Low,
6,
maybe
maybe.
Kobe.
Probably about 10,
5.
12? I don't know.
Probably maybe 5 in Knox City and 5 in Haskell. Or
so
Monday.
This is a policy that I would like to institute that would bring jobs here. One of the top issues that Texans have is it's number 2 is home insurance. It's too expensive. We're top 10 in the nation for expensive home insurance. One of those places that we have that issue is in rural Texas. Fires, wind, massive storms. Around here, you got tornadoes, right? Whatever they can use. We know how insurance companies are. One of the things that we can do to bring jobs here and to bring the costs down is institute career fire departments. Now, I've been asked, were you going to put a career fire department in all these rural counties? No. We have an opportunity, though, to use EMTs who are already pre-qualified to be firemen. They go through fire school. We have volunteer firemen here. Give them a job, fund their stations, and you have created a manageable amount of jobs in this area. The same way with like rural hospitals. Knox City's behind month after month after month on their bills. So that's why you're paying more, because they can't pay their bills back, right? Zach's told me it's $400,000 to $600,000 a month, right? If we fund our rural hospitals and stop pulling money away to give them to whatever else, right? Like, or cutting THC profits, which were $8 billion to our state revenue, those hospitals can afford to hire more nurses, can afford to bring. There's not a job. There's no need for them, Riley. I was there the other day. They didn't even have but one person on the whole hospital in 2 days. There's no jobs outside. Do you know how understaffed our nursing homes are?
I'm not.
No, One of the, how many nursing homes we got in these 3 counties? Three. We have 3.
Okay, 3. But
and they're underfunded. They're not. I'm sorry, but you keep asking me about how I'm bringing jobs here. I'm telling you,
everything you're talking about is government tax money to provide. We got to have private jobs. We got to have companies come here. We can't just the government.
Okay, but we just made a bunch of revenue.
You haven't provided one job. The hospital,
CNA, LVN, RN, doctor, firemen, EMTs, teachers.
How many firemen do you think we need?
Just depends.
Okay.
There's a big actually. So I would say we would probably need at least 2 shifts, right? And they're going to have to cover at least a tri-county area, right? Because I wouldn't put it in Knox City. There's not enough people, but I would put it in Seymour, and those people can live in Knox City, drive to Seymour,
and get a fire truck and drive back to Knox City to do fire.
I mean, goddamn, they fucking do it in Big Spring. What are you talking about?
You work 3 days and 2 days.
Yeah, there's people. No, yes, you do. In Abilene, there's firemen that work at Big Spring.
I'm not saying that, but they're fighting fire in Big Spring. They're not fighting fire in Abilene.
Yeah, okay. I was in high school when I could see the flames on the other side of the Brazos River. So don't tell me we don't need that stuff. And we want to bring costs down for people. I want people in Knox City to be able to live in Knox City.
Our insurance cost, if we had the same fire department they have in Plano, Texas, would maybe go down 10%.
You're making ridiculous equivalents. Why would we have the same thing as Plano?
But the same level fire department where you get
I don't know the levels, like if they have a hospital or not.
When you pay your
career one would work.
Hold on. When you pay your insurance, let's just say Knox City Zone 4, I don't know, fire coverage. When your insurance, you get a cheaper rate on your insurance, whatever zone you're in, fire department wise. Plano, Dallas, Wichita Falls, Abilene, their fire zones is the highest you can get. They got a professional fire department here. We don't have that here, so we have to pay a little bit more. We're not at the bottom of it because we do have a volunteer fire department, but they zone it out more. So our insurance is a little less than if you lived in Guthrie, probably. But ours is higher than if you lived in a place that has it. I don't know if Seymour's all volunteer, if they have 1 or 2 professional.
I think it's all volunteer.
Okay, I think Stanford maybe
most
has
of our rural places are all volunteer.
Exactly. So it goes different. The problem is we're still not creating really a lot of jobs. I'm talking about you have to have private industry to make things work, not just government tax dollar stuff. I'm all for having more hospital people, but there's no patients. They don't have enough people to see to do that.
Well, that's because they're going to Abilene. No. My dad, don't say no.
We don't.
My best friend fucking transfers them every goddamn day.
We don't have enough people here that are regular patients. We don't have a big enough population base. Dude, I'm not saying there ain't sick people that go to a doctor out of town. Yes, we do. We don't have enough people in Knox City to have an optometrist here. We don't.
Okay, so how do you think that a city like that can support 4,000, 5,000 new workers like that?
I never said we could.
That's my point, that's why you shouldn't bring that here.
Then people aren't coming here. They're building man camps out all over the place, the same as they got in Odessa and everywhere.
And what happens when they all leave? You're going to move a family into a fucking man camp? I'm not crazy here,
is this
dude.
Man camp going to have a hospital?
They're having one, yes. They've got a hospital. They're building with a pad. They've got everything they built everywhere. They hired a nurse practitioner. They got nurses. They got everything. They got 5,000 people live there. I asked our administrator at the hospital, I go, what are we going to do about ambulance coverage? Because if you take a town of 5, and I think I asked Logan the other day this.
They're having the issue with sheriffs too.
Fucking pee again.
You got 10,000. You got 10,000 more people going to live here at a man camp. Now, 10,000 of those people are probably going to be 75 to 80% male. And they're going to be between the ages of 20 to 35, I'm guessing, manual labor working.
And they're not
guys.
bringing kids here.
No, they're not. And when you have that many man camps, I've never been around a man camp, but I'm assuming in Odessa, the man camps, they have a police department or an ambulance or fire department.
I live there.
A lot of fisticuffs.
They have to make deals there. So we're going to lose some ambulance coverage from having to go out to these man camps at times when we could use them here in town. That we're shorthanded on that. But we don't have enough stuff going on to hire 3 new ambulance crews. There's not enough people living here. What I'm saying is, this is my only thing I like about these data centers is it may be going to bring some permanent residents to these communities that we wouldn't have otherwise. Because if you go to Spur, Texas right now and you drive through town, it looks like a ghost town because there's no jobs there. And all these small towns in West Texas are losing jobs. We need businesses. We need, and I'm not talking about mom and pop businesses. We need someone build a factory type work. We don't have any of that no more. In Knox City, just in the last 20 years, we closed down. Rolling Plains went out of business. Then it was or they sold to Basic, and then Basic went bankrupt and they went out of business. That was a lot of jobs out there. When they did all this stuff at Kinder Morgan, this looked like a highway out here with stuff going. We've got to have those jobs to maintain our little towns. That's the influx that we need from these data centers. There is a lot of good things from these data centers too, and jobs and opportunities are it. We don't have those, and so we need that. Summit, they're fixing to hire a bunch more people to work over at that lumber yard and that hardware deal. They're doing that because they've got those data centers that are buying stuff. You go to the grocery store there's people buying stuff. You cannot build 1 or 2 jobs and build your community back up. You need something like this to do it. I would love to be where our hospital had enough people that I would love for us to have an optometrist and dentist in Knox City. There's not enough people here. They've tried to do that. There's just not enough business. There's not enough people here to be patients for that. Yes, your dad went to Abilene or Wichita. My dad did too. He had to for cancer.
And we should have more mobile clinics for that.
And they have stuff that come here. My dad got where he could take his get blood here, and they did all kinds of. They do dialysis and stuff here. Medicine's getting more advanced, and they can do more things. But you still don't have enough people. We couldn't have a cardiologist here. We don't have enough patients. He'd see 2 people a day. He can't make a living doing that.
But that's the thing though. Is like, this is where I always get in the impasse. Is
quit drinking water so much.
It's either I'm talking about everybody gets their own doctor, every county gets their own thing, or I'm talking about one specific city, and that's not what I'm talking about, right? Like, you're talking about a fire department serving only Knox City. I'm talking about the fact that we got a shit ton of EMTs here that would be easily transferred into being firemen, and they could also go other places if they needed to. But that is a job that has more and more and more professionals in it. How many new pumpers are there
in Knox City?
None, right? You get it, Chuco, right? My Uncle Chuco pumped for what, 50 years?
Yeah.
You get that job, they don't quit, right?
So what I'm saying pumpers like that,
sure, yeah.
They do so much more now stuff because of they've got the computer technology.
My point is that job is the same as the jobs you're talking about that are coming here with that.
No.
Because yes, I know, because I've talked to the engineers that work out there and that are going to remain working out there.
There's going to be a lot of jobs that are there's going to be full-time security guys at these places. They're wanting to hire every one of them is going to have a county liaison. That's going to be a really good job for somebody. They're going to hire police departments and stuff out there. There's some really good jobs.
Are they going to hire somebody from the county?
I don't know where they're going to hire them. But if they hire someone from somewhere else and they move here, it's going to be a full-time. They're going to live in our town.
Sure.
That's what's going to happen, though. But those places.
But the prices stay, Jeff. That's what I'm telling you is like, yeah, jobs. But those are all temporary workers that are going to leave permanent prices here.
Those people.
If Andy, when they leave, are you going to drop your rent?
Not if I have to.
Okay.
Thank you. But so if you have to go up to $3,000, no.
Is Andy a problem then?
No.
Because he's charging
what I'm
more
saying
than he
is, why would he?
Right.
What I'm saying is,
well, so the market would dictate that. Like if we had this price that we're making now, and for our rent houses on
your property value would go up though.
That is true too.
So it's like, no, the market doesn't dictate that because look at Zach is in Throckmorton, Texas, hadn't done fuck all to his house, and it went up $100,000, and we need to get after the appraisal district on that shit. But like, that's my point is you can only afford to drop your rent so far before you start losing your ass. So those temporary jobs do cause permanent problems. So that's really great, Jeff. But if fucking 600 people have to leave Knox City because they can't afford to live here, because for however long, I think it takes usually 2-3 years. How many people can stay afloat and on stable prices like that in 2 or 3 years in a town like this? So like, it's not that it can't happen.
What's your answer then? Your answer is just
my answer is to scale it down, to take a year off and say, hang on, Knox City, you guys want one? Great, you can have one. What can this place handle? What can we handle in this area that's going to make it okay for the residents? Yeah, your prices are going to go up a little bit. That's how that works. I understand.
Who are these magic people that's going to do this? The government?
We have an entire fucking infrastructure that does this.
Who?
And for the fucking government, dude.
That's exactly what we don't want to be involved.
So
most people don't want the government involved.
Then you pay the billions of dollars that the research would take.
Why research of what? I mean,
To understand, like, why
they
you
have
not,
never done data centers until 3 years ago.
How much? Okay, so you just started your fucking business. You didn't figure out what the cost might be to you when you came out here. You didn't figure out whether you would have the fucking infrastructure to run a hunting business in Knox City. You just went, yeah, the ducks will come to this place, and I'm not going to look into it at all. I'm not going to scout. I'm not going to see how the waterfall is. I'm not going to see anything about this place. I'm just going to buy this and start hunting. No, you fucking scouted the fields. You made sure that you were actually going to be able to guide hunts out here. I'm not fucking like.
No, we did not build our business that way. You have no clue what you're
You
talking
built
about.
it slowly, though.
Bingo.
You didn't come
Yes.
in
Oh,
here.
God. Why is it that when Andy says it, you fucking get it, but when I explain to you how you start a business, I'm fucking crazy?
You didn't
I
start out.
started my business because I just started my business. I didn't go into no damn
But you
big
picked
damn,
a place to figure it out.
No.
Hold
I had
on,
a
let
place.
me get in here.
Thank you,
Let me
Andy.
get in here. You didn't start off running. You didn't build a lodge that we have today on day one. Starting out
No, we
with
built
40,
a business and go.
Right,
That's
you
right.
built a business with 1 or 2 groups a day for the first year, and then you understood that you could handle more, and you had the resources to add on, and then it's okay. We did 2 successfully. Let's try 3, and now you've got it dialed in to where you know what days can handle big groups and what days can handle the smaller groups from experience, from building
Right.
slowly.
That has nothing to do with the data.
That's called
centers.
research.
That's
That's on the ground research.
You might not have been putting pen to paper in 1992 to figure out what
thank
this
you.
is going to start,
Fuck
but
me.
you figured out as you went that okay,
Yeah,
we can.
as I
Okay,
went.
what's a better? Let's use a prime. What is a great day to hunt usually?
And it's Thanksgiving to
Thank
New
you.
Year.
Thank you. Okay, why do you know that?
Research.
Why, thank you. Because you didn't fucking write it down and read a goddamn book, but you did the research because you did the hunts, right? You signed that. So my point is, let me get to it. My point is, we don't have to not have them, but we should take a minute and say, okay, you want to come here. We need to know what's going to happen. And we need you to pay for that research because we didn't ask you to come here. We didn't ask you to come to our state. We didn't ask you to fucking use our water that we don't have and that we're in a perpetual fucking crisis with. So I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you can come in here. We'll put a moratorium on a year. Knox City wants who all like. Let's say this: who all wants one? Knox County wants one. Great. Send a team here and tell us what we can handle.
It's private business that does
That
not
is
need
going
the
to
government.
affect the public.
It's
Do you not think that bad water affects the public if it leaks in there? Because some of these places re-release their water into the system. If the city and the county don't look at that,
TNRCC has got guidelines.
do you have any idea how hard it is to get what they put in the water is antifreeze? Do you have any idea how hard it is to treat that out of there? It's fucking expensive, and you know who usually is paying for it? City. And guess who gets to pay for that? Us. So when you tell me it's a private business, I don't give a fuck.
It's private business, Riley. Every one of these farmers that sold their land out there. Hold
so
on,
it's not their fault if our water goes bad.
Hold on. Every farmer out here that sold land to these people, nobody made them sell their land to build this. These windmills out here, I can't stand the windmills. I think they're ugly as shit. But it ain't my business to tell a farmer he can or cannot put a windmill on the deal. What's really funny is the same people that'll bitch about the windmills don't mind if they've got an oil well on their place.
Yeah, I mean that's
A pump jack
that's
going up
funny
and
too.
down. But they don't like that. But that's the world we
But
live
that's
in.
private business, Jeff.
It
And guess
is.
what's happening to our
That-
water
it is.
because of those because of these wells out here? They're poisoning our water. So who does that affect?
Our water gets treated and comes through a water line with every regulation in the world.
Not in Tom Green County.
Their city water.
Yeah,
isn't
they
treated?
don't. They. It is a known fact in San Angelo that you fucking do not drink the city water.
It's got to pass TNRCC standards. Has to.
What are the standards? The standards
I
are
don't
getting
know. I don't drink
deregulated.
city water. Everybody I know has a filter on their doing ways. And I'm not talking about San Angelo.
I mean, like,
okay, no. I'm
fucking
just,
give it right to me then.
Okay,
But
well,
Riley has to because that's going to fall in.
I have to talk about.
okay,
I have to talk about.
no. But I'm saying I don't live in San Angelo,
Sure,
but I'm
but-
assuming their city water has got standards that the state, the government that you're talking about, is okaying.
Yeah, and that's why I want to be in there because they're not doing a good job. And that's my point.
The government's not doing a good job.
They're not. They're not. They're
But you're
because
wanting
it's a
them-
super majority of people who don't want anything but to make private corporations profits. They don't give a fuck about us as people. Andy, I want to ask Andy because I know how you feel about this.
Okay.
Would you rather, as a person that also sits on the water board, would you rather know what's going to happen before they come here, or would you rather find out in fucking 2 years?
Well, what we've done with the water board is
You might have done something good.
We have looked at agreements made in other parts of the state, and we have made it to where we're doing the best that we can to make sure that the contracts that we draw up are so ironclad that they can't go over what they said they were going to.
And that's great.
Right.
My point is all of that, because here's what I know. They came to the state first.
Right.
I know because my opponent said it out loud. He said, they came and talked to me. The guy who's made his whole career on water conservation, by the way. They came and talked to me, and his answer, his own words, were, y'all can come here, but we don't have the water. And that's not the fucking answer you should be giving. The answer should be, okay, boys, we are going to have to look into this because I am in a water-strapped district. That on one half of my district, you can't even get water. I don't understand what this fucking what this issue is with just pressing pause for a fucking minute and saying, hey, how many workers are going to be in this, like to build a 2,000 acre data center? How many workers would you need? 10,000. Let's say it's 10,000.
12.
12. Thank you. The first thing that should be said is, what's the community that you guys are going to use? Oh, okay, we're going to use Knox City. Okay, Knox City's residents cannot afford to take that on. Doesn't matter how fucking much revenue you're going to get. That's going to be next day rents going up. That is an issue that our state should be handling, and they are not. So what's happening is people like Andy are having to fucking shoot from the hip and try to make sure they're covering stuff. A lot like Abilene did, right? They made these deals, but there was no research done on how it was going to affect the rising housing crisis in our area. My point is not that these things, I mean, like personally, sure, I don't like them at all, but I get it. I like industry, I like revenue, and I like jobs. But 8,000 new people in Abilene and in Knox City does not a good community make, because nobody can afford to be there anymore. And to act like that shit doesn't trickle down is just being foolish about it, because we see it. Like, it's not that Abilene's an anomaly. It's going to happen in Abilene, then it's going to happen in Haskell, then it's going to happen in Knox City, and then soon enough you're going to be paying fucking $5,000 a month in rent in Benjamin. Like, it doesn't stop. And my point is, our state legislature has done nothing to say, hey boys, this is what we feel is the best like standard for our state. Like, we have other issues that are pressing.
So you still haven't given an answer. What's your answer besides pause for a year? There's no answer.
My answer is progressive land tax on corporations that buy farming land. So I want to put a 5% progressive property tax on corporations that buy farmland, because I want to stop losing farmland.
You're going to have some farmers that want to farm more land.
Well, okay.
Well, the farmers are selling the land.
Well, guess where that revenue is going to go? Right to those farmers. Because guess who else needs help buying land? Young farmers.
So they can sell the land at a profit, and you're okay with that.
If they want to.
But then you want to tax the corporations that buy it to make something that's
I want them to buy less land.
But then we got to have young farmers, and there's not a lot of young farmers out there.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
I know why it is. It's too expensive to get into farming.
You think it's just going to be cheaper because you get into it now? The cost of a John Deere tractor is not going to...
That's the big problem.
No.
Tractors and everything else.
I mean, what is it? Right to repair? Is that one of the... There's like a right to... Yeah, because a lot of the corporations, you can't work on your own track. Both my farmers are bitching because they can't take them to a John Deere. They have to take them to a John Deere house.
It costs you a shitload.
Right, and that's ridiculous.
But that's nationwide, not a Texas deal.
There's a whole joke about, what's it called? Republican welfare. Because it goes to farmers. I don't think a farmer's really going to give a fuck if we give them a little extra money, because they don't seem to have a problem with it right now. And I, for one, like young farming families. And I would like them to be able to get a farm. And we have programs like that. We just don't have the funding for it. So if you put a progressive land tax or progressive property tax on these corporations, it's going to do two things. It's going to limit the amount of land that they buy up right off the bat. They might buy some more. They might buy some from some farmers. Fine. They want to sell it. That's fine. They're going to pay a 5% property tax on that on top, because they are fucking up the economy, right? Like, we don't have tourism in Abilene anymore because...
Well, Abilene's not a tourist town anyway.
Well, but we had an occupancy tax on hotels for tourism. We don't make that money anymore, right? Because if you don't stay for 30 days, if you don't stay for over 30 days, you pay that tax. Those people are staying for longer than 30 days, so they're not paying that tax. So, first, progressive property tax on only, for your listeners out there, only corporations, not farmers, not ranchers, and not even really luxury Land. I think that's fine. It's a good revenue. You know, you guys, are y'all considered luxury hunting? Or just regular? But that's good. I think that's great for small communities. So that's my first policy. Secondly, I want to get rid of this fucking sales tax exemption they get on electricity. That's horse shit. I don't care who you are. That affects the whole state. That is going to hit our grid. We all know that. We need.
I don't have a problem with
because they're using more, so that's going to get passed down to you and me.
Yes, and
we should all pay the same taxes on everything. Sales tax. I don't have a problem with sales tax on electricity. They should pay their same.
Yeah, no, and that's an easy one. I feel like that's fine. I don't have a problem. See, these are things that I'm telling you that are just really simple fucking things. Like I don't want to fucking like people talk to me like I'm trying to take a bunch of people with torches and pitchforks out there and run them off the fucking place. There was just no forethought into what the other side of this looks like. So those two things right there, I've done the research. And if you just take that sales tax exemption away, that is billions. I'm not even fucking with you. Billions to our state's revenue right now. You want to fund a public school? Do that one fucking thing. One thing. Why are we satisfied getting bent over the barrel all the time by these corporations while the rest of us suffer?
Because the corporations provide jobs.
Hey, what happened the other day? Weatherford was in a blackout. Did that have anything to do with data centers? Or
I've gotten some bunch of questions. Like north side of Abilene had like a small blackout. I was like, I don't really know.
It was a 12-hour deal. I don't think it was a rolling blackout. I think somebody
screwed something up.
Pawns or something hit the
wire.
Like,
those are my plans.
Because Glenn Beck was talking about like how Texas is going to be in an energy shortage. So during the big freeze, and I think 21 or whatever, we had blackouts here because it got cold and then the wind quit blowing. Yeah. So like it was just like a perfect storm to where our grid couldn't handle what was happening. Glenn Beck says in the next year or two, that's gonna increase by like 4 or 5, like 5x.
Oh, I believe all of that
because of the strain that these data centers are going to put on the grid, and then you're going to have a big winter storm. How we didn't have more blackouts in this last one? I guess it wasn't cold long enough.
They put more. There's more things going into it. Like they're building a nuclear power plant at Matson to power these data centers, and the data centers are building that power plant. That's their power plant.
Yeah.
To fund their deal. And I got no problem with that. So, but the corporations, you have to have corporations for jobs.
Okay, we just hold them more accountable. Like I'm not saying that they shouldn't exist. I'm saying that they shouldn't get the fucking run roughshod over people who are in a bind already. Like, you know, like if I'm sitting on a city council of a rural place, like I can definitely agree that if they come in and say, hey, you know how you're getting like $600,000 to run your city off of? We can give you $4.5 million to run your city off. Where do I sign? Because I'm not stupid. I know that rural places are having issues, but that is causing more effects because they're fucking suffering.
If you don't do anything, there won't be nothing left.
But you can do something and scale it.
We haven't had done one thing that creates a job. You have to have jobs.
Okay, you want to create. I'm giving you the reasons why you can bring it here and why you should honestly giving the reasons why you should support me doing this, because nobody else is going to make sure that you're making the best decisions. Now we're figuring out housing stuff. That shit should have been figured out in 2021 when we knew that it was supposed to be crypto mining before, but we knew that was coming here.
But you still haven't answered. You got to have jobs out here. Without jobs, and the government providing more jobs ain't jobs. You need you have to have private businesses.
So why can't okay. So if you bring the data center here, why can't we make sure that it's not going to be 5,000 fucking workers hitting this place in the teeth? Why can't we say, what is the size that this community can handle to support, where everybody else can also live and breathe, and the cops and the firemen and the EMTs can handle it? Like, you listed off all of the fucking problems that are about to come to this community.
But every town is fighting to get these things.
They're not. Look on the...
No. The people aren't. The towns are.
So what am I supposed to do as an elected official of the people? You say I should go. So what I should do is say, fuck y'all. I want whatever they want. That's not my job.
I said these towns, not the state.
You said the people are fighting it. That's why I'm representing them.
Hold on. The people don't want this in most of the towns, but the people in government are the ones that are accepting these. Wichita Falls local government. Wichita Falls is getting these.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Albany, because they're doing what they think is
a lot of them have signed NDAs.
Right. Yeah, and that's one of my. I do have an issue.
So why
with that.
would you do that?
I'm not
Exactly.
I haven't made
No,
a,
I know.
I haven't made a decision to do that. But I also don't think it's the government's job to tell somebody what they can do with their property and they can't.
Nobody's telling them what to do with their
Yes.
property.
No, you are.
No, I didn't.
You're saying, well, to put a pause on it for a year or don't do that here. Well, if you're a farmer and you got 1,000 acres and someone's going to offer you $10 million for your property that you normally would get $2 million for, you're going to sell your stuff, just like they did the windmills, these solar farms. I hate
And they
solar
should have done
farms.
that with the windmills and the solar farms too.
But that's the guy who owns that property. It's his right.
That's fine.
Just like
you know
it's
what
his
he would
right
appreciate
to drill oil on his property.
What you know what they would, and they should have done all of that. They should have done, like, that's my point. Is nobody's telling you can't sell your fucking land. If you want to sell it, okay. But here's what we're going to do. And the reason we're doing this is because it's not just like this whole fucking, well, it's just about this one fucking guy. Well, I'm sorry to tell you this, but there's about 1 million fucking other people out there that are going to be affected by this. So we don't get to just pick and choose who it is we want to give a fuck about. If the people don't want this, and a lot of ranchers don't either. I've read several.
Sell their land. Then.
I've read several articles because they see how it's affecting their community. So when I tell you that I want to put a pause on it, I'm saying this because people I've spoken to are okay with that because they would much rather keep the land and the place that they probably saved their whole fucking life to have, right? Like, we just sit here and pretend like nobody gives a fuck about the house that they worked or the land that they tried to work for 60 fucking years, right? It's just like, well, yeah, no, they don't give a fuck about that. Well, do they not give a fuck or they cannot afford to keep it, so they have to go somewhere else? If you were to just say, and maybe it's not a pause, Jeff. Maybe it's just, here are the standards. Go buy the land where you want to, but here are the standards that the corporation has to keep to.
Who? See, you keep saying we.
Because we don't have the infrastructure to do that research.
Is one of these data centers gathered by eminent domain?
What do you mean?
Where the government comes in and takes it.
The one, does it count if it's in city limits?
Is any data centers being built?
The one in Abilene is in city limits. So does that count as eminent domain?
Did they go? Did
Yes.
Did they go
City
in
put
and
it in
take
city
it?
limits.
Oh, hold on. Did the city go and take it from someone?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'd have to read the contract.
Every data center has been sold by someone that sold that land, and it was their. It's their land, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, we're talking about two different things.
No, we're not
here.
either. It's their land. No, the government didn't come in and say, "Hey, we're taking your $1,000 acres away from you, and we're going to pay you X amount of dollars." Like when they built Jerry's World in Arlington, they took away a neighborhood.
That's crazy.
And they do it all the time.
So
hold on.
That's where I get crazy.
But not one of these data centers was eminent domain. Every data center that's being built, someone sold their land.
But hold on.
They made a decision.
Hold on.
Okay.
How many of these, the land that was sold, how many of these people knew that a data center was going to be put in? Because here's what the data centers do. They use a third party to purchase the
developer.
land.
Yep.
So that I don't know that it is clear whenever the landowner is selling that it is going to be for a data center.
Well, that might be true, but everyone, like the solar farms that they're building now north of Anson.
Yes, I understand that it's a private individual that sold the land, but I don't necessarily know that they fully were aware that a data center was going to be built on
But they
their
cashed the
land.
check.
Here's something you guys can get on board with. Those wind turbines in Abilene, they tore 300 of them down. The city didn't, or the county didn't redo a property tax abatement for the solar farm. So they said, fine, we're going to tear them down. Right? I agree with solar energy because it's 25% of our grid. However, those wind turbines were put up about 20 years ago and they were not kept to any specs and standards. So all those landowners, it was their choice. They put those wind turbines on there. But they put those wind turbines on there with the assumption that the people in power that they voted for had made sure this stuff was going to be well taken care of, that it was going to be top notch, that corporation was going to be held to a standard. And for the last 20 years, farmers and ranchers have been bitching about these things that were shittily built, old models, leaking oil, and dropping shit all over the place. And I can't disagree with them.
I can't either.
Exactly. And I don't disagree with them. But you know whose job it was to make sure that those motherfuckers were keeping to a higher standard? The people who signed the fucking contract, which was not those ranchers and farmers. It was the people that they come to first. And that is my point. They don't go to the city before this happened, right? Data centers didn't go to local governments. They went to the state first. And that is where I'm saying that is the first line of defense for everybody. Whether it's limiting, whatever it is, the first phone call that a city official should be getting is from their state representative, letting him know what's about to happen, what could be happening, and here's what we're trying to do to make sure that the people in your community don't suffer. Because what's happening now is they're tearing down them wind turbines and everybody's got no problem with it, except that's 300 pieces of electric energy that we don't have anymore. And all that land that those farmers had those turbines on, guess how much it's gone up, Jeff? 356%, and they're not getting any of that revenue anymore. Now, I do believe that there has been something worked out in the county that they were maybe prepped for, but I'm not completely sure to like kind of help them ranchers out. But that is the stuff that I'm talking about.
It's also
right?
affecting small schools because a lot of schools pass bonds under the assumption that the windmill money was going to be X amount a year. So they pass these insane bonds, and then, like you said, it gets taken off the grid, or it doesn't appraise for what it was, or it's not making as much as it was. And now the checks that a lot of school districts are getting from the wind company isn't as much. So a lot of schools that pass bonds are against a fucking wall because they passed a bond that they can't pay for because they're not getting as much money from the wind companies that
anymore.
they were promised.
Yeah. And then you ask, like, whose job is it? Like, the reason I say that it should be the state is the same reason that it's hard for a regular person to sue a corporation, right? You can't afford it. You don't have the infrastructure behind you to really go to fucking toe to toe with a corporation, which is why they always win, right? That's why I think it should be the state. Not because I love the state and they're just the best thing to do. They have the infrastructure. There's a reason we have an attorney general, even though he's a fucking idiot. But there's a reason we have one. States have those because people need a legal infrastructure to try to stand on one foot or try to stand on their feet. And so it has to be the state, not because they're the best at doing it, unless you put me in there, but because regular folks, like you're saying, are showing up to city council. If you've got 45 people, 50 people in Knox City Council meeting all saying no, and your council votes it through, do you think that's good government?
Well, the people, here's the problem is those people voted those people in. And I agree with you on some of that. You know, you're supposed to be ruled by majority, but once you vote somebody in, that's their vote for 2 years.
But if they're coming in, you're telling them, right, but if you're being told no by your constituent, right?
Yeah, we voted something on one time that I was totally against, but we had 200 people come to a council meeting, so we had to vote for it because that's what the people came for and that's what they wanted. And guess what? Jeff was right.
So let me ask you this.
I turned to be.
And sometimes you might be.
We were right, but we had to vote for it because the people come in, and my good friend Terry Utley had the deciding vote, and he looked at me and he goes, "What do I do? There's 200 people here." I said, "You got to do what they want to do." And then afterwards, we were right. But that's what happens. And but it was a minute thing, but it does happen.
Let me ask you this, and we got about 10 minutes. We got to start wrapping up here.
I was wondering what time it was.
Yeah. Why do you think that in 2026 we're seeing the influx of data centers? What is the need?
For me?
Just because like the way that...
I mean, are you asking me?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it just like...
Money.
My internet works just fine. My TikTok works fine. Like, you know, number one, I don't necessarily fully grasp what a data center is. And I don't understand why in 2026 we're not seeing one built in Abilene.
8.
We're seeing
in that area.
Like in this area, we're seeing a dozen. And then you go into the Panhandle. They're popping up all over the place. So why is it that we found ourselves in 2026 to need, I don't even know what the number is nationwide. Let's just say 100.
I think there's 300.
Okay, 300. Jeff thinks it's aliens. What do you think?
Well, hold on. You got to let me fucking, that can't be the end of that deal. You just can't throw that in there.
Jeff's fucking crazy. What do you think?
A lot of people think I am crazy, and I'm just a dumb guy.
Me too. Hey, we're in the same boat, brother.
Jeff says aliens. What says Riley?
I said, I think this is something in the future that we don't know about. All this alien shit's fixing to start being released, and I think we're going to need this kind of energy just to have some kind of weapon or something down the road. It's the only way I can figure. Someone told me it's because the new phones and stuff, you're not going to store any data on your phone or computers. Everything's going to be stored somewhere else.
It's already done that.
And they said that's why you're going to need all the AI, all the videos, all these companies have gone to AI, where all the storage space. I call bullshit on that. I think there's way too many of them being built. I don't know. I sound like a fucking idiot on the alien deal.
Let me get crazy for just a second. So there's 2 reasons this is happening. Number one is it's just like the internet age. Everybody's trying to get in. You can go online right now. What people don't know is these developers don't always have somebody to be there. Right? Like, so Lancium has Oracle to put the data, somewhere like it's either Oracle, Lancium, and Crusoe, right? They're all working together to put a data center there. Some of these developers are just trying to get land and don't have a client yet. That's number one. They're just trying to get money as quick as they can, right?
Trying to get in the game.
Sure. However, here's what I believe is the real reason, and it's because they're saying the quiet part out loud. This last week, did anybody hear about the AI company and Hegseth threatening them? Mm-mm. Okay. The U.S. government wants Anthropic, which is runs Claude, which is an AI software. That's what they run. It's like top notch.
Yeah.
They want them to allow, and I think they're going to do it, but they want them to allow them to create autonomous drones to do surveillance and to do strikes. Mm-hmm. These drones would not be controlled by humans, which means that they circumvent the oath that military takes, or they would be able to circumvent the oath.
It's going to go to AI.
Absolutely. They are building these because you cannot have a surveillance state if you're not able to store the data. And y'all watch. You're going to have if you're not careful. Pay attention to the city because it's happening in Abilene. There's this business called Flock. It's an AI camera. They put them on city corners. They run your license plate. They run your face. They track your daily routine. It's not like they're tracking your routine.
Right.
A woman went to another state that had legal abortions. They tracked her to the state and back, and then tried to fucking arrest her. Mm-hmm. That's what it's for. You can't store 330 million people's data and what they have now. So you have to have these bigger centers. They're trying to create a surveillance state, and that's the easiest part about it. Like they're tracking us, all your shit on your phone. If you're listening out there, that's where it goes. When you go on Google, that's a data center, right? So, there's also running data on betting. There's running data on, in some type of AGI. Everybody's really confused about how AGI is going to work. But what this is, and they did it in Gaza, is they ran the AI, they tested the AI in Gaza, and now they're bringing it here to monitor U.S. citizens. I mean, it's like, I can't, I'm sorry. I know it's going to piss some people off, but you don't put boots on the ground, masks on their face, and build a surveillance and build massive data centers that store everybody's information if you're not creating a fucking surveillance state. Like,
well, you saw what? Did you watch Super Bowl? Did you see the Ring video? Ring
that shit
video
did not work out the way they
commercial?
thought it would.
Right, like, oh, you lose Fifi the dog, and like you can just create a basically like facial recognition. Mm-hmm. And you saw Savannah Guthrie's mom's Ring video doorbell.
Guess what? Doesn't have a subscription.
Oh, really? So that
Nest Cam recorded that whole thing, and she doesn't have a subscription. Cash Patel went on TV and said we went through a back door and got that footage.
Really?
And you're not supposed to be recording if you don't have a subscription. Right. And they went and got clear footage off of her Nest.
Yeah.
Like,
but I mean, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Like,
they've been trying to do
even
it.
like Ring video doorbell, like it starts out with Fifi the dog, but then like, oh, now it's Andy
Where's
Shaver.
Andy going?
Right. Why is Andy Shaver 4 blocks over today?
What time does Andy get home? What's that? What's also happening? What's the color of that skin of his neighbor? Because that's happening in Abilene. We had ICE going door to door, knocking on people's doors and shit like that. But yeah, it's obvious. Like, you don't pass things like the Patriot Act and Citizens United and not be creating a surveillance state when you get a hold to AI.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been 2 hours. It's 11 o'clock now. We've got another podcast to go.
Okay.
So we'll cut it off there. So just so we're clear, no aliens from Riley, aliens from
I
Jeff.
do believe in aliens, though.
I do, too. Obama said that they were real. So I think he also said the quiet part out loud.
I want to say, I do want to make, if you're out there, you don't have to agree with me on anything I just said, but we are working on putting together, or we are getting signatures for a petition letter to Governor Abbott to convene national state legislatures and get justice for human trafficking survivors. If you would like to sign on that, it's all over my Facebook. I have a link on it, my Facebook. But yeah, we want them to be held in public hearings, and we want charges brought to anybody who's got connections with somebody convicted of human trafficking if they're in their government, past or present. Doesn't matter what color their tie is. So if you support that, please go sign that petition. And you can check me out on rallyforsenate.org and on my social media as well.
When is the election? November, right?
Yeah, mine's in November.
We'll do another one of these and argue in 3 months or 2 months over something, because there's a lot of stuff I still want to talk about. That
yeah,
we
for
didn't even
sure.
touch.
Yeah, we as we do, we rabbit trail.
Yep. So,
Well,
all right, we appreciate you coming out here. Yeah, we'll have you on again early part of the summer.
Okay.
And we'll do this all over again. So thank you. Thank you for coming out here. And be safe, everybody. Everybody have a great week. We love you. Goodbye. Watch for
Bye.
me, please.
And I do want to get to the bottom of the data centers. I'm trying to get somebody from the data centers on here to tell me why everything's got to be an NDA. I would love to get a guy to come talk about it.
I know. I don't know if we're still recording.
Yeah, we are. Peace. God bless. Have a great day. Bye.